Yep. All right, Colleen, you're up.
Okay, great. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, fabulous. Well, it's been an incredible 6 weeks of distance learning, and I just want to thank my staff for their amazing efforts. Things that are working well for distance learning at Sierra Vista is that we are able to maximize our PE teacher and our yard duty staff for attendance and learning monitoring. So they're calling every single day to check on those that are not coming to their AM and or PM sessions. And when they do call, they make a log. They're able to provide real-time tech support, and it's been really helpful to resolve issues right there, then and there.
Han sido unas 6 semanas increíbles de aprendizaje a distancia. Tocante asistencia, se llama todos los días y se mantiene información sobre las llamadas. Si el problema es apoyo técnico, se les da el apoyo allí inmediatamente y ha ido muy bien.
When I last checked, we had 52% of our student population with 100% attendance.
That's excellent.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So we are very happy to have that number. We also have our learning monitors engaged in a system of evaluating and comparing the online attendance with assignment completion. So this is to better capture the sense of participation and engagement of students. Because we have so many tech issues, we wanted to make sure we're getting an accurate measure of participation and assignment. So if students were not able to connect online, then they can continue on with their lessons offline.
What do you mean by learning monitors?
So we have a PE teacher that came over from Maine, and he's been helping us with our monitoring our learning and attendance. And then we also were able to repurpose our yard duties into aids, instructional aids. So they're running
Wonderful.
instructional gatherings, I'll say.
Colleen, could you hold on one moment? We need to interpret.
Del 52% de la población de estudiantes tenemos 100% de participación, así que estamos muy contentos con eso. Hemos hecho evaluaciones también, asegurándonos que la asistencia coincide con las asignaturas que entregan. Tenemos un monitor que está monitoreando el aprendizaje, así como también el asistente. Y se me preguntó qué quiere decir con monitor de aprendizaje. Dijo, uno de los maestros de educación física es quien se encarga de estar viendo eso, que la asistencia coincide con el aprendizaje. Y luego también las ayudantes que tenían antes de guardia en el área, ahora están ayudando en las clases también.
Also what's working is that the teachers will post assignments for the day in their Google Classroom. As you may know, Sierra Vista was one of the first to go one-to-one with devices. So we have the oldest devices in the district, and so we're riddled with connectivity issues until we can get those swapped out. So our solution was to have teachers post assignments for the day. That way if kids get kicked off, they can still move forward in their lessons to some degree.
Awesome. Perfect. Great creativity to stay on point and immediately address what those issues are. That's awesome, Colleen.
Yeah. Hold on one second there, folks.
Y la maestra apunta las asignaturas que van a hacer, porque los aparatos que tienen son de los antiguos, de los más viejos, y por eso es que tienen problemas con la conexión, pero al maestro o maestra poniendo así la asignatura, entonces no le hace que tengan problemas para conexión. La asignatura ya se ha puesto y ya se ha publicado ahí para que los estudiantes puedan verla.
Also, we've engaged in home visits to make sure that we have eyes on students that are not showing up online. And if we are there to resolve any tech issues, if they're persisting and if parents are insisting that it is a tech issue, then we'd like to see it hands-on and get those resolved.
Y también hacemos visitas a las casas para los estudiantes que no están asistiendo y así vemos cuál es el problema. Si el problema es que no tienen la conexión apropiada y el padre está presente, entonces proveemos la ayuda que necesitan para que puedan estar en línea.
And this is taking some coordination. For example, we've coordinated with Diana at Mays because we have families that are different students but same family, and so we've tag teamed some home visits there. The next thing that's working really great is that Sarah Vista has a distance learning hub on their website. This is created by our ultra fantastic library media specialist. It's an excellent place where we direct parents and students to go to resolve their tech issues if they continue to have questions or new and interesting hiccups.
Y luego también tenemos la coordinación que se hace con la familia, porque hay familias que tienen más de un estudiante, así que también se hace eso. Luego tenemos en nuestros sitios de web para que puedan ver con la ayuda de la persona que se encarga de la tecnología. Los padres o estudiantes que tengan problemas de tecnología pueden ir allí y también se les da la asistencia que necesitan.
And our 5 gem is our small groups and interventions. So we are able, with all of our yard duty, our PE teacher from Mays, and our interventions, we are able to run 12 intervention groups an hour for our kinder, first, and second. This is amazing, and we love that it's excellent, uninterrupted time where kids get small group that's intensive intervention at their level. And if you can imagine a classroom full of 20 and a teacher tries to pull a small group of 5, the other 20 or other 15, it may be interrupting that small group, but here in distance learning, they are not interrupted. As long as we get them there, they are not interrupted by the other kids. We have amazing timing that is super efficient. And our motto is, if you have a heartbeat, we have a small group for you. So come on, therapist, we'll put you in a group.
Y luego también han puesto a las personas que estaban en las responsabilidades de cuidar la yarda, están ahora haciendo intervención con los estudiantes de kinder, primero y segundo. Tienen sesiones con grupos pequeños y es tiempo sin interrupción, son un grupo de estudiantes pequeños. Y lo que nosotros decimos es, si tienes tu corazón que palpita, tenemos lugar para ti.
Okay, and then my last thing that's going really well for distance learning is that my staff is ultra collaborative. They're tenacious. They will not let each other fail. So they step up and they serve regardless of their position or job duty. And I mean, the ladies in the front office, they will die trying to help a parent on a phone. My teachers are sending hangouts, group hangouts all day long to help each other out for resolving connection issues or just collaboration and to support each other. It's just amazing.
Y también tengo un personal que estoy tan orgulloso de ellos porque ellos no quieren que ningún estudiante no vaya a tener éxito, así que están siempre en contacto con los padres, ya sea por teléfono, correo electrónico, y están colaborando uno con otro, coordinando todo, y es algo increíble cómo trabajan muy bien.
And so the areas of improvement that or needs that we see right away is obviously everybody's asking for time, understanding. Our teachers they're trying their very best and they're killing themselves, but we don't want that. So we're going to be implementing a mindfulness program that we can take care of ourselves and our students. We're going to be amping that up here in the near future.
Y también los maestros que están trabajando tanto y es tan difícil para ellos, están tratando de hacer lo mejor que pueden, pero tenemos también que tener cuidado con la salud de los maestros y que tenemos también ese periodo para que ellos se cuiden. Y hay una pregunta.
As far as the physical solution,
There's a question, Colleen, Jen?
go for it.
Colleen, this is Jan Gris. It sounds like your biggest problem are the Chromebooks.
Yeah, our biggest hurdle is the physical devices at this point and programming. So when Google decides that its drive is not going to work, that causes an issue. Connecting it to our assessment program, it's like every day is something a little bit different, and
Right.
we're going to be able to resolve any issue at any time.
But with sounds like your group that is collaborating well, we've heard this from several of our administrators that the entire staff is coming together to help each other out. And it sounds like that's what's happening at Sarah Vista as well.
Hold on, Colleen.
Absolutely.
Y parece que la pregunta es, parece que el problema más grande que tienen es con los libros, los Chromebooks, las tabletas. Y sí, la respuesta es sí, porque ya algunos son unos aparatos que son antiguos, viejos, y también con la programación y permanecer conectados, pero todos los días es un día diferente. Pero parece que, como dijeron los otros administradores, el personal, todo está trabajando conjuntamente para asegurarse que todos los problemas se resuelven.
And I'd have to say the next thing that we're going to pursue are headphones with microphones. We have some children that are in environments that are very small with multiple children, and it's difficult not only to hear them, but for them to hear us. So we're going to be exploring that for those folks that could benefit from it.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Y otra cosa es también vamos a tratar de tener audífonos. Algunos niños están en un espacio, un ambiente muy pequeño y a veces tenemos dificultad que ellos nos escuchen o escucharlos a ellos, pero eso es algo que vamos a tratar de solucionar a través de audífonos.
And if I could just do one more plug for the distance learning, that our TKs and our kinders may have never engaged in a classroom environment. So this is their very first experience with school. And I have to say, when I pop into those classes, it's like they don't know any different, because they don't. And they're getting the experience that is not ideal, but it's the best experience that the teachers can provide to them. And that's true for upper grades also. The kids that have been in a classroom environment, they are learning patience and just tremendous technology skills and tolerance and whatnot. They're excited to be there. And again, while it's not ideal, we're doing the best that we can.
Y para los niños de kinder, pues ellos nunca han estado en un salón anteriormente. Así que este es un ambiente nuevo para ellos porque no saben ninguna otra cosa. No es una experiencia ideal, pero pues sí está haciendo lo mejor que se puede con los maestros y proveerles a los niños la experiencia que tienen. Es cuestión de paciencia y tolerancia, pero los niños están emocionados de estar en la escuela. Y esto es también para los niños de primer grado.
Steve,
So
did
I
you have a
touched
question?
on the next. I
Hold on,
really
Colleen.
appreciate your time. Are there any questions for Sarah Lisa?
Yes.
This is Trustee Kane. I actually have a comment and a question. My comment is, you guys are doing a great job on attendance. To me, that to make a program work, that's number one. You have to have them engaged, and the program that you're using is working, so kudos, I'm very happy with that. What I would like to know, my question, is you mentioned the student study team process. I assume this is, through distance learning. How successful, is this harder, more hard, or less harder? process to go through? Because I know they're important. What has been your experience?
Hold on one second.
Y el miembro de la mesa directiva Kane dice, tengo un comentario y una pregunta. Veo que están haciendo muy buen trabajo en la asistencia y para que un programa trabaje bien tienen que tener la asistencia, así que mis felicidades. Pero la pregunta es, el equipo de estudiantes, el proceso que tienen, ¿cómo trabaja eso a través de aprendizaje a distancia? ¿Es más difícil, es menos difícil o cómo trabaja?
So I think the SST process has been, it's continuing. Of course, it hit a pause. We had several meetings scheduled in April and May, and so we're picking up where we left off there. And but we're really just going back to focusing everything on data. So it's not like a clean slate, but we're really shifting our focus. We've also implemented preventing academic failure, like R.O. Harden. And with that comes a battery of assessments that we need to administer on our little guys. And so the teachers did a really great job, the primary teachers, of doing those assessments and getting engaged. And now as we move forward, if we see or parents voice concerns or teachers voice concerns about student progress, at least we have a solid foundation of where they are right now, regardless of where they were, you know, six months ago. So I think the process itself is the same. We're just working on refining it and making it more applicable so that students' progress is captured in data instead of, you know, what we may surmise as progress.
Okay, thank
Hold
you.
on.
Bueno, el proceso continúa después de que dejamos de asistir a clases en abril y mayo. Ahora estamos tratando de continuar allí donde quedamos en esa ocasión, colectando información. No queremos que haya que no haya éxito académico, así que los maestros están haciendo las evaluaciones y manteniendo esa información, participando en eso, viendo qué son las cosas que le preocupan y dónde están los estudiantes ahora para poder seguir. Así que el proceso es igual, nomás se está refinando un poquito más y aplicarlo a la situación donde están ahorita.
And one more hint, if you have a heartbeat, come to Cerro Vista for a small group. We've got one for you.
Liz, did you have a question?
Yes, and a comment. I think, you know, you react, Colleen, on your feet. That is evident and obvious. And, you know, the fact that our classified are stepping out and stepping up into things that they've never done before is a huge, it's huge because not everybody is comfortable, and you are definitely that person that they look towards in leadership and positivity and direction and training to be able to perform at their best for you. And that just demonstrates what an awesome leader you are.
Hold on a second.
Thank you.
Veo que usted está reaccionando y está en muy buen lugar, muy bien puesta. Los trabajadores clasificados están ahora tratando de ayudar lo más que puedan, aunque están en una situación donde nunca habían estado antes. Esto es algo nuevo para ellos, que no se sentirán muy cómodos, pero la ven a usted y ven que usted le está dando el liderazgo, la ven a usted para ellos saber hacia qué dirección tienen que ir, así que el hecho de que usted esté allí proviendo ese liderazgo es algo muy bueno.
So the other question, because you're using your library media specialist, from what I gathered, you know, in a amazing way, because the fact that you're able to do these videos for parents for technical purposes and use their expertise You know, for Diego, I mean, there's a lot that we internally can learn from each other. And the fact that you're utilizing Maze for similar families, so you're not making 2-3 visits for, you know, one family who has 3 children. That is the ideal thing to do, is coordinate and figure out, okay, Tag, you're in on this one, I'll get the next one. So I think that's extremely efficient and smart to also start to do.
Thank you. It's definitely a team
Hold on,
effort.
Colleen, hold on a moment.
Me da gusto ver que usted está ayudando con la información que tiene en la biblioteca, los videos que demuestra para los padres que internamente están trabajando juntos y ayudando, también coordinando cómo pueden aprender unos de los otros y las visitas que hacen a las familias cuando son más de un niño o 3 niños, están coordinando muy bien para ser más eficaces.
So you're not needing to have any translations right now, so is, you know, for, because I can see that you post things, but is there a need right now for any of those things to be translated?
Y mi pregunta es si necesita alguna
Yes.
información que tiene que ser traducida, porque veo que está poniendo información. ¿No hay necesidad de traducción para eso?
Yes, so that's in development. So when parents call, we have, we're fortunate our intervention teacher is a leader in our Spanish-speaking community at Sarah Vista. So the parents, you know, will call her if she has questions. And so then she can walk them through the video. So it's kind of like a one-on-one. But yes, you're right. We need to get those, you know, as time allows. So sometime in 2047. So we're working on that translation. Thank you for bringing that up.
Okay.
Dice, sí, estamos trabajando en eso, en las traducciones de buenas, que la maestra que hace la intervención puede comunicarse con los padres, así que cuando llaman, ella los puede guiar sobre los videos también, pero sí, lo de la traducción es algo que está en el desarrollo actualmente.
Colleen, you said that you're doing the assessments. What are the assessments actually saying?
Dice usted que está haciendo las evaluaciones. ¿Qué es lo que dicen esas evaluaciones? O sea, los resultados de esas evaluaciones.
Well, it's showing us their levels, and like I said, this is the first time that we've implemented this assessment, so we don't have anything to compare it to for the primary grade as far as preventing academic failure. So we're just grouping kids at their level. It's hard to compare it to like the BDST or, you know, other assessments that we've used in the past. But I think it's the natural bell curve is what we're seeing, and then we're just moving forward and administering interventions based on those levels that we have.
I mean, are you seeing any learning loss at all? I mean, are the second graders at the appropriate level right now, and the third graders?
Bueno, primeramente quiero decir que los maestros están haciendo evaluaciones o asesoramientos, pero como para muchos estudiantes esta es la primera vez, no tenemos con qué compararlos. Lo que estamos haciendo es que comparamos al nivel académico a comparación de otros asesoramientos que se hicieron en el pasado y proveer la intervención necesaria. La pregunta es si ve que hay alguna pérdida de aprendizaje.
Yeah, again, we haven't administered the baseline tests that we are this year, so I cannot compare data. But of course, if students were not participating in an academic program since March, then I would naturally think that they're not going to be at the same level that they were when they left. But then there's tenacious parents, and you know, so we're just going to have to see how the data is. I'm really interested in moving forward in where students are now, and you know, not grieving over a loss that might be, you know, what could we have done? Because now we're just productive and positive, facing forward, and you know, what's done is done. And so
That's
we're
right.
just excited
Yeah.
about that.
To take them at the pitch they're on.
Yep.
Colleen, I work for a
Hold on a second,
principal.
hold on, please.
Dice, bueno, como les he dicho, no tenemos para comparar, pero estamos guiando con que haya progreso académico. Y claro, no es igual, ¿no? Los niños no van a estar en el mismo nivel que estaban cuando se fueron en marzo o abril, pero estamos asegurándonos de que haya productividad y tenemos que ser muy positivos de aquí en adelante y para cuando tengamos la información que se pueda comparar.
And if I could just quickly add to, we don't want to use that as an excuse for any sort of, watch these fly. You bet they're going to close this gap. And so that's why I'm just like, I don't want to use this as an excuse for student failure. I want to use it as, this is where they started and this is where they're going to get to. So I'm excited about the growth that the teachers are going to get.
Y no quiero usar algunas excusas para cuando no tienen éxito. Aquí es donde están ahorita y tenemos las metas hacia dónde van a llegar.
Colleen, you say 52% have 100% attendance. What's it look like for the other 48? Are you losing a huge amount during the day, or the 97.6%, is that throughout the day, or is that just one measurement in the morning?
No, we measure attendance in the morning and in the afternoon. So if they miss one of those two, then it's not a perfect attendance. And that's where we go back to our spreadsheet and we compare, okay, so this kid had technical difficulties in the afternoon, but so did a bunch of other people. So now we're going to compare it to their completed class assignment to say, we can kind of verify the technical issue. Because we do have some folks that may be taking advantage of that, and we don't want them to say, I have technical difficulties and get scot-free, right? We want to make sure that they're getting the most out of what they can. So we're using that comparative model to try and to negate the non-perfect attendance. But yeah, 52% have been AM and PM since, we started tallying, which was like the third day of school.
Y la pregunta es, de esos 52% que tienen el 100% de asistencia, ¿qué pasa con los otros 48%? O en su totalidad son 97.6% de asistencia, incluso en la mañana y en la tarde. Bueno, se toma la asistencia los dos en la mañana y en la tarde y luego comparamos y vemos cuál es el problema, si el problema es algo técnico, si están terminando sus asignaturas de las clases, porque no queremos que se vayan a aprovechar y usar ese problema de la tecnología como excusa. Tratamos de hacer lo más que se puede para ayudarlos, pero empezamos a obtener la información como al tercer día después de que se empezaron las clases para llegar al porcentaje de asistencia.
So, Colleen and members of the board, I want to chime in here. First of all, thank you, Colleen, for being with us. I appreciate it. If there are no more questions for Colleen, I'm going to ask her to log off the call. And I know we have the principal of Lad Lane that's second in line, she tells me. So thank you, Colleen.
Thank you so much for your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to answer the phone right now when it rings for our next principal.
Call from.
And Janine, this is Diego Ochoa. Can you hear me? All right, Janine, this is Diego. Can you hear me? Okay, I think she's listening to her computer. All right, Janine, can you hear me?
Diego, it's Monique.
Hi, Monique. I'm sorry. No wonder you weren't answering. Can you sit tight, Monique, for just a minute here? Janine was wrong. She told me she was second in line, so.
No, I'm first in line.
Well, now, yeah, she's first right up. You know how that goes.
I know, you have your favorites.
Yeah, HDLA, of course. Gablin Hills.
Thanks to your life.
But one thing that I want the board, because you've heard from all of our principals at this point about the exams that we gave this year that are different than exams we've given in previous years. So let me explain what exams we have given, and I'll let our translator interpret.
Que lo que quiere que le explique a la mesa directiva es los exámenes que se han dado a comparación de los exámenes que se dieron anteriormente.
Every single child in our district in grades kinder, first, second, and in some cases third grade, were administered a test that checked on 4 main areas. The first is letter identification, a child being able to see the letter F and say, that is an F. And to be able to demonstrate that they know how to do that with all 26 letters. The second portion of the test is a sound symbol association, which means they see the letter G and they tell you it says G, or they see the letter B and it says but. That is a separate portion of that test that every child is taking. When a child does a strong job on letter identification, being able to name letters, and then letter sound symbol association, they'll get scores that move them on to the next portion of the test. And I'll wait for our interpreter.
Ok, quiero hablar de los exámenes que se dan a los niños de kinder, de primero, segundo y a veces hasta tercer grado y cómo se administran estas pruebas. Consiste de 4 componentes. El primero es identificar la letra. Por ejemplo, si le dan la letra F, que pueda identificar la letra y así con todas las otras, con las 26 letras. Después, el segundo es el sonido. Tienen que asociar el sonido con la letra. Y cuando los estudiantes entienden bien y saben bien esas 2 partes de la prueba, entonces se le dan sus resultados de eso.
And for our bilingual listeners, I was wondering if she was going to say coordinar or asociar. It's so interesting to listen to somebody translate, because in my mind, I'm doing my own translation, and hers is always better, but hey, this makes it more interesting. The next portion of the test is a test on short consonant, vowel, consonant, or CVC words. So those are words like hit, bat, get, sad, those kinds of words. And kids progress through a list of words like that, demonstrating that they know how to read those words. And when they do well enough on those, they get connected to a test that is what we call a short blend or digraph test. And those are words that have sounds that are unusual and not necessarily consonant vowel consonants. So these are like words that have BL, ST, joined together where the letters make a different sound. So part of the reason that a school principal might not make the kind of comparisons that President Bernowski has asked about in specific to certain schools is because they're testing them for the first time, but also we're not giving those principals the data from other schools to compare how their students are doing as compared to students in the other school. And I'll wait for our interpreter.
Y luego otra parte que tienen es el consonante y el sonido del consonante. Dio unos ejemplos, pero los ejemplos son en inglés para que puedan tener sentido. Y entonces después de que los estudiantes demuestran progreso en esto, se les da una lista para ver si los niños pueden leerlos. Y luego también la otra es sonidos cuando se juntan dos letras que tienen un sonido que no es común con ciertos consonantes, por ejemplo el sonido de la S y la T, y que puedan ellos hacer el sonido que va de esas letras que se juntan. Las pruebas que se les hacen, pues no se les es la primera vez y no se les está dando a los directores los resultados de pruebas de otras escuelas para que puedan tener una comparación.
But I do want to share Sarah Vista's data. For second grade for this year, they have approximately 80 kids in that grade level. Of those 80 students on the exam that we gave, it was more than likely the second or third week of school, and I'd have to ask the principal at some point, if, to figure out exactly when the test was given. But of those students, the percent correct for 70 out of the 80 students was 75% or more. So it would stand to reason, as it pertains to making a comparison to being at grade level, those students who fell into the 75% correct or more on the test I just described to you, you could probably make a pretty decent argument that they're either approaching grade level or at grade level, and in many cases they're exceeding grade level.
That's what I want to hear. And again,
Tocante a la información que se está manteniendo, por ejemplo, los niños que están en el segundo grado, hay 80 niños en el segundo grado y se les dio la prueba como en la segunda o tercera semana de escuela. Voy a tener que verificar con los directores, pero se trataba sobre qué porcentaje tenía correcto y fueron como el 70% de esos 80, los niños están en el 75% o más de sus, como pasaron la prueba. O sea, lo que quiere decir es que de esos están ya sea al nivel del grado donde deben estar o están ya muy cerca de eso o algunos hasta más arriba de eso.
Well, I think I said this last night, but what my concern is now is the time to pull out any magic, formula we have, similar to Footsteps for Brilliance, where we as a school district adopted it, and we see schools reporting how many words they read and the pride there. Do we need to do something similar on the math side? Because, again, I don't know where all of this is going to end up, but I know that kids doing things like basic reading, basic speaking, and basic math, at least they're getting something that they'll be able to carry forward. And I just want to make sure if there's anything we can address, we address, even if we have to spend more money on it.
Sí, es una de las cosas que me preocupan porque yo creo que ahora es el tiempo donde si hay alguna varita mágica que podamos usar, la usemos ahorita para reportar los resultados de la escuela, porque tenemos que asegurarnos que también estamos ayudando o hacer algo similar en matemáticas, porque si los niños están leyendo básico, hablando y haciendo sus matemáticas, entonces sabemos que han aprendido algo que van a retener para seguir adelante con eso.
Diego.
Thank you.
Diego, just to make sure, we do not have a handout on HDLA tonight?
Or Gavilan Hills.
We don't, but we do have a principal online.
Okay.
And she's with us now. I'm going to transition. Monique Ruiz, our principal for Gavilan Hills HDLA. Monique, if you can hear me, this is your opportunity to address the board. You were in the call queue, so you heard Colleen's, the description I gave Colleen about focusing on what's working, on what we feel, are some successful strategies, but then what's needs to get better and what we can improve on, and then to address the issue of learning loss. So with that, I'll hand it over to you, but I'm going to ask you to pause every now and then to allow our interpreter to interpret.
Sure. Excuse me, my apologies. I put the slides in the show, I guess, after the deadline for the board process.
So we're going to need you to really shout right into that receiver.
Yeah, hold on a second. Hold on. Diego, the issue, we have plenty of sound here. The issue is it sounds garbled.
It's Claire, not Claire.
Okay, I'm sorry. My voice is cracking as
That's
well.
better.
I think if she talks slowly, I think the interpreter will be able to hear.
Yeah. So Gavilan Hills and HDLA, I'll speak pretty much equally about both right now. I'll give you some different numbers for the attendance, for instance. We've averaged 95 and a little bit percent of attendance at Gavilan Hills, and HDLA 96.6 and 97 point, almost 98% for a middle school. We've worked really hard, as Colleen mentioned, with the learning monitors focus on the work and kind of social emotional issues, but we've got a team of our former, or soon to be again, hopefully, RDDs, our health clerks, and they've been making calls every day to follow up, and we basically identified the families that are struggling with this way of life we're in right now, and doing what we can to help them, including having them come in, posting videos, making home visits, and so that's going pretty well.
Hold on a second.
Ok, sobre asistencia tienen el 95%, pero luego mencionaron nada más que no tenemos muy buena comunicación, dice 97, 98, uno de los problemas son socioemocionales. Hemos estado tratando de identificar las familias las que están batallando y luego tratamos de hacer visitas o tratar de figurar qué es lo que necesitan para resolver el problema que están teniendo, ya sea a través de videos o a través de visitas.
Okay, so we've also had, as Colleen mentioned, I would say that our experience has been different than services.
Honey, they can't hear you.
I can.
Go, Patch. Go. Go, Patch. Go, Patch. Go, Patch.
Let's try again, hold on. Most of the challenges that we've had have been with the Chromebook and the connectivity, and the families being frustrated about being knocked off, thinking the teachers are kicking the children out, etc. So finally, after learning all the tricks in the trade and having an amazing team, every single person in our office, whether they had tech experience or not, has been supporting the families by phone or in person with the problems and the challenges that we've had.
Los problemas que hemos tenido es con las tabletas, los Chromebooks, y a veces las familias se sienten muy frustradas, pero todas las personas en la oficina, ya sean que tienen conocimiento en eso, tratan de ayudarles y darles el apoyo a las familias a través de teléfono o a través de visitas o videos.
So we've had, I've never been more proud of my teachers, and I always have been proud of them, but I can't tell you how proud I am and humbled by the willingness and the fast learning curve of all of our staff. We already had a great team, and I can tell you that it challenged everyone, and it continues on a daily basis to challenge everyone, and we've had tears and we've had, frustrations, but the beautiful thing is now, like, they're feeling they're on top of it now, or maybe not on top of it, but at least they're not feeling like they're drowning anymore, and they are getting more and more creative about how to serve the children and learning about how to respond to their needs in the format, as well as getting creative and a tremendous amount of collaboration. We always were good at that, but right now there's a daily collaboration time for everyone. Self-selected. They are just always working together and sharing, and it's a beautiful teamwork.
Y tenemos un equipo que trabaja juntos para poder resolver los retos que tienen las familias. Más que nada la frustración que sienten y que se sienten que se están ahogando. Entonces tenemos que ser más creativos y el equipo está tratando de colaborar, trabajar todos juntos y compartir la información y el aprendizaje que ellos tienen con las familias para que no tengan esa frustración que han estado teniendo.
So we also, in the spring, as well as this year, we have had an amazing intervention team who has done almost impossible. We did have the CAF data from last year, beginning of last year, and many of the children were assessed at the end of the year who received assessment during that time that we were doing packets and such. So we're ready to start our interventions next week. We serve approximately 120 students a week with half-hour reading groups at different levels, and we're working with first, second, and third grade right now. We'll jump into kinder after the new year. That's typical. We let them start, give them a chance to learn a few things before we start deciding if they need intervention or not. We don't have as much bandwidth as we'd like. We have a big school. But last year we started with instructional assistants doing the CAF program, the Art Healing Campaign reading intervention. And we thank you, Diego, for we finally got Chromebooks for our instructional assistants today. And so we should be ready. They've been trained, they've been waiting, and they are going to be working with the group starting on Monday.
Tenemos un equipo que ha estado haciendo intervención y asesorando. Hemos estado trabajando con 120 estudiantes por semana. Estamos trabajando con los niños de primero, segundo y tercero, todavía no con los de kinder, pero estamos tratando de darles la oportunidad y que puedan aprender y dándoles la intervención que se necesita y haciendo los asesoramientos, o sea, las evaluaciones.
So let's see what else. All the good things. We have had, I know, I think Rob asked earlier about the SSP process and the IEP process that we've had online, and I can tell you that that's working very well. The meetings, the agendas are shared, the data from the assessments are being shared, and parents are there, and it's been wonderful. So I can say that's I'm sure most schools have that same experience, that SSPs. We haven't had too many because we have a new, as you probably know, we have a new policy on who gets SSPs and how that works. So we've been watching our students and documenting the needs, and so we've had lots of IEPs already this year, and it's working very well.
Hemos estado compartiendo información y las cosas están trabajando bien. And I'm really sorry, but I'm having a very difficult time understanding her.
Yeah. Monique, could you translate or say what you just said in Spanish yourself?
Sure. El programa de estudio de estudiantil con los niños cuando tenemos una preocupación académico o de comportamientos, reunimos para conversar, resolver o pensar juntos para tener un equipo, una idea del equipo y cómo podemos ayudar al niño. Y esto ha estado funcionando muy bien en esta época de distancia, aprendizaje de distancia. También los planes individualizados de educación para los niños que reciben educación especial también van muy bien. Los padres están participando, todos los especialistas están presentes. Tenemos toda la información excelente del grupo y está funcionando muy bien. Estoy muy contenta con esto. Okay, let me just go on to a couple more things. I would say that one of our challenges is the developmental issue of little ones not being ready to sit in front of the screen every day. I know Diego has been working with one of our students trying to document his challenges to his parents, and we have quite a few parents now who not only little ones, but older students, because we always knew were having challenges participating, kind of in a focused way in class. Parents are now seeing what we've been seeing over time, and so we're trying to support parents for those families at home, those parents whose children are at home learning, and adapting our instruction to, meet the needs of the children. And Diego and I were talking about the other day, we can't have teachers sitting on the street talking to kids for half an hour or even, goes up to an hour and a half. We need to get our teachers breaking things out. And so that's one of our goals. We've been working on that. Small group instruction is really helping us in that area. So the teachers have kind of a flow of meeting together and then having a mini lesson and then breaking out into groups to work with the children, giving them time to finish their work and then coming back. Of course, this is not every teacher, but that's our goal. We're trying to support everyone with that. Because this developmental need, if you get a 6-year-old, and I tell you, some of those sweethearts, the little 5-year-old PK kids are so attentive and so interested in school. And bless their hearts, they really are doing great. But,
So Monique, you're gonna have to translate there for yourself there.
That's okay. We have a few friends that are, really busy, and it's really hard for them. Estamos trabajando con esa idea del modo de instrucción, de estar y mirar a la pantalla todo el día o media hora, una hora. Y estamos tratando de cambiar nuestro modo de instrucción para dar más lecciones más chiquitas y grupos chiquitos para trabajar en grupos para la maestra saber, para que la maestra sepa cómo los niños van y para dar un pedido de trabajo independiente para los niños chiquitos. Bueno, los niños grandes también, todos están. No hay mucha diferencia entre los niños chiquitos y los niños grandes en el sentido de distintos estar enfrente de la pantalla. So one thing that I know was mentioned, well, we are so excited about the Steps to Brilliance. We've got just lots of progress in education, and we're making home visits to award our superstar Steps leaders. Estamos súper entusiasmados con el programa de Steps to Brilliance, que es un programa de lectura por el internet, cuentos, etcétera. Y vamos a estar visitando a las familias. Y bueno, los niños que han alcanzado buenos tiempos, horas o libros o palabras leídos. Esto empieza a pasar. So we start that next week, our visit. And so that's really fun. And one thing that we would like, Mr. Bernanke has said, our older grades are wishing they had something like Steps. Some kind of program that they could have the children, get on and practice. They had isolation last year, and that was a really good program. We didn't get to complete her hopeful pilot of it this year, but the middle school is really looking for something. And so I do have a little bit of a budget that I left open in my GIPSA plan, where I would like, if the Muskie district comes up with something for everyone that we would like to supplement somehow. Not for them to spend a lot of time, but just to have another mode, because most of the work that they have is all in their Google Classroom, and they're writing the textbooks, but there's not a lot of programs for them. Otro programa que nos interesa sería un programa para la escuela intermedia de los niños de sexto, séptimo y octavo grado. Los maestros están buscando, quieren un programa como Steps to Brilliance, que sería pero para niños grandes, para poder apoyar su aprendizaje, práctica de gramática, etc. Y yo tengo dinero dedicado a varios programas. I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. That noise from another family is not from my house, so I don't know where that's coming from.
You're good. We can hear you, Monique.
Okay, sorry. And I was just going to end with, Colleen is such a beautiful, articulate presenter. I can't come up with such words for all of what she said. I would say yes, what she said, and everything she mentioned not exactly the same, celebration. But one thing we had a Captain Kids Heart webinar this afternoon, and we went on to listen, me, Monique, and Jennifer Miller, and we needed a little bit of encouragement, because there are days sometimes when it's pretty tough. And we got it, and one of the principals that was on that call with that webinar said, we're not perfect, but we're amazing. And I would say the same thing. Our kids, our teachers, our staff, not to mention, just this whole thing that we're all in. I'm so appreciative of everyone's graciousness and patience. And, we have our moments, we have a few parents, but the struggling families who are struggling a lot, they struggle when we're there too. So it's not I don't think it's any more, it might be different. And we really want to serve those families. So we are making referrals to counseling, we will be making referrals to the social worker. We are reaching out and basically loving on these families that are so frustrated and calming them down, respectfully, and just trying to listen to their frustrations. And once we listen, many of those go away, and then we figure out how we can help. And so I think it's important to be nurturing and be, good to one another in this time, even though sometimes we have a day where it feels like not being that way. But I do believe that, we're all going to be so much better for this. In my life, that I've been through a lot of difficult things, and I always come out better, no matter what. So I'm just looking forward to, we are going to be so excited to be back together and pick up, like Colleen said, pick up where we left off. But we're not left off. We're in action right now. And I think that we're doing the very best we can. We're not perfect, but we're going to keep getting better and better.
Hey Monique, can you translate that for our audience?
Yes, if I can remember what I just said.
That must be tough.
I don't know if I got translated for you. Estoy muy orgullosa y tengo mucho respeto para todos los padres, las maestras, personal de la oficina, todos nosotros estamos trabajando bien duros para apoyar el proceso, porque estamos todos juntos en este mundo bravo y diferente, y estamos tratando de salir de este problema o esta situación negativa a hacer algo bonito de algo positivo. Y en mi vida, en mi experiencia, he pasado bastantes cosas difíciles, y para decir la verdad, estoy mejor por haber pasado esas cosas. Entonces, estoy muy entusiasmada, y cuando llegamos todos juntos de una vez juntos en la escuela, será maravilloso, y vamos a hacer todo posible para continuar creciendo y apoyando a los niños, el aprendizaje de los niños, y así que un día esto será una memoria que vamos a hablar como un sueño, pero como un sueño positivo. So, do you guys have any questions for me? Or?
Yeah, Trustee Kane does.
Hi Monique, since this has been happening, the distance learning, I've been trying to find positives in the learning process, and you mentioned one earlier, to me that sounds like a real positive. Not all parents or guardians have a chance to actually be there and monitor their child while they are learning. Have you noticed over your experience so far that this actually is a benefit to the parent because they get to know their child better? They actually get to see the learning process and maybe make comments or be able to tell you how they see things. Is this a benefit or not?
Hold on one second.
Tengo una pregunta. A través desde el tiempo que empezó esto, quisiera encontrar algo positivo del aprendizaje a distancia. ¿Usted ha encontrado que durante este proceso del aprendizaje que aunque sé que no todos los padres o sus tutores pueden estar presentes con ellos, pero esto les ha dado a los padres la oportunidad de conocer a sus hijos mejor y estar presentes en el aprendizaje de ellos, verlos cómo están aprendiendo.
So the answer is yes. There are many parents we hear from who are, well, there's the benefit of having spent more time with their child when they're usually working, at home now where they have more time. So they see the struggles that we've been talking about in some cases for a while. And so it's almost like an aha moment for them where they go, oh, okay, I get it now. I see, this is a challenge that I didn't realize how hard it was for my baby. I don't know if I think it's very eye-opening to the parents. I'm not sure. It's not a surprise to us. Like we know the kids, and we've been side by side with the kids and watched them, from PK all the way whatever grade they're in, and so we aren't surprised by their observation, but their desperation is heart-wrenching because they're really like, oh my gosh, now what do I do? And the sad thing is, and I'm speaking with all the love in my heart of these people, is like they want to go back in time a little bit. They say, wow, I should have worked harder with my kids, I should have read to my children, I should have done different things that I've done, and now I see I should have done that. What can we do to help, And so, do you want me to translate that, or?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, sí, la pregunta era como si vemos pues los padres aprendiendo mucho de sus hijos, de cómo los desafíos y los problemas de los niños. Sí, la respuesta es sí, claro que sí, porque nosotros conocemos a los niños, pero los padres que están trabajando o simplemente quieren a sus hijos de la casa, que quieren como aman a sus niños, no ven muchas veces sus problemas en la escuela, lo que necesitan para ir a la escuela. Entonces, esto no es una sorpresa para nosotros, pero para padres y para nosotros, con el deseo de recuperar tiempo perdido del pasado. Entonces, estamos tratando de enseñar a los padres cómo apoyar a sus hijos en ese ambiente. So this last time that they feel, we're actually creating a reading video to come out next month in October, just to have you because I think a lot of the parents think there's a magic bullet saying, that if we just do this or if we get, an SSC or an IEP, everything's going to be different. And really, a lot of it is just time being read to, time exposed to the beautiful words of literature and sitting on the last story, the natural things that we do for our children. I mean, we have a doctor who's here for those children. It's not that easy, but for them. So we're going to try to get our parents more and more involved in like what they're going to do for their children because now they see it. And I'm really grateful for Diego creating that SSC manual because so many here, they think, okay, there's a problem, and it's not, there may be a problem, we don't know if there's a problem, but the immediate first thing isn't to have, the special ed testing, we've been in that for a few years now we're very aware that the first solution. And it may be way down the line after we tried everything else.
Hey, Monique, remember, you need to interpret.
The challenge is that, we feel prepared to provide an intervention program now that we've never been able to provide before. We have been, and we will, of course, even in this situation that we're in now. Entonces, estamos preparando maneras de apoyar a los niños y sus familias en la casa Estoy agradecida por el proceso del estudio del éxito de niños FSC, porque es un proceso de éxito con metas, bueno, como una línea, una jornada para seguir, para entender los problemas del niño. Ha estado en la escuela, está leyendo en Footsteps to Brilliance, han leído en la casa, ha recibido intervención, etcétera. Entonces, eso me estoy agradecida porque ya tenemos eso y la intervención de Orchard Gillingham en español se llama Esperanza, es un programa de Orchard Gillingham específicamente, es el único para niños, para el apoyo. Es muy parecido con el programa en inglés, pero para el idioma de español. Entonces tenemos este programa como haciendo exámenes para identificar niños con problemas de aprendizaje, no es la primera cosa que vamos a hacer. Puede ser después que se hace de todo, pero es algo que realmente es como un final, no es el empiezo de la investigación. Entonces, so I really believe, yes, it's very good for parents to see their children up close, and we, holding them accountable now, parents are getting more involved than ever before, and it's good to see. Now, I can tell you that we have a few families that are disappointed that don't, that are really fighting. They'll say, I have to work, I can't be there, I don't know what to do, I don't know technology, and so we're, one by one, case by case, we're trying to overcome those situations in different ways, but it's been, it's been good, and it's been eye-opening for families, for sure, and I mean that with all the respect, like, and many have said to us, I'm sure they've said this to all the principals and teachers, wow, I have so much respect for you guys. I have no idea how hard it was to teach my, a child, period, and just one, let alone a whole group of them. So,
Well, thank you for that explanation, because I think the public does need to know that. There are some positives with distance learning, and that's one of them.
And Monique, we're gonna ask you to wrap it up there. We do have our principal from Lad Lane. I believe she's next in queue, so we'll find out soon.
And Sunnyslope.
And we will check in with you again soon. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Monique.
good night.
Good night.
Call from.
Hi, this is Diego. Is this Janine?
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, so I'm just gonna ask you to speak right into that phone receiver so we can hear you nice and clearly. And,
You got it.
And then pause every once in a while so that our interpreter can chime in.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Good evening, board and Superintendent Ochoa. This is Janina Soya, principal of Last Lane. And I apologize, I don't believe that you have my current slides in your board packet. I think it was printed prior to me finishing them. So I will just go over them with you. Do you want to translate?
No. Buenas tardes a todos. Les pido disculpas porque creo que la agenda se imprimió antes de que yo mandara toda la información que quería incluir allí.
Okay, so we'll start with attendance. Attendance was a huge worry of mine when we found out we were going to be doing distance learning, because in the spring, we did not take attendance, but I know that our participation was not very great. So our attendance rate up to today is 96.47%.
Y una de las cosas que me preocupaba mucho a mí era la asistencia, porque con el aprendizaje a distancia, si no teníamos la asistencia, iba a haber unos grandes problemas. Nuestra asistencia hasta ahorita es el 96.47%.
Which is almost the exact same percentage that we had last year at this time. So August 2019 to September 2019 was 96.7%.
Y que casi viene siendo el mismo porcentaje que teníamos el año pasado. El año pasado, de agosto a septiembre, el porcentaje de asistencia que teníamos era 96.7%.
So I'm pretty proud that our attendance rate is the same with distance learning as it was with in-person learning. I think that's a huge success for us.
Y creo que considerando que estamos en aprendizaje a distancia y ahora en comparación a en persona, yo creo que es exitoso lo que tenemos porque está casi igual.
We did not have sixth grade last year, so I don't have.
Could you hold on 1 second? Could you hold on 1 second? Diego, can you translate for a moment?
Of course.
So,
Okay.
you want me to go over there?
That's the plan, so that the audio can be better and clearer, if that's.
So you can hear it over there
Yeah.
better,
Yeah.
you could translate,
Yeah.
or interpret.
I had sent him a text message asking him if he could forward the link.
Oh.
Maybe I could hear it better.
There.
We'll get a backup plan up here, so we have a good setup going. Thank you.
Okay,
Okay, ready?
Julie, sorry.
We're ready.
It's okay, no problem. So for sixth grade, like I said, we didn't have sixth grade, so last year, so I don't have anything to compare it to, but our attendance this year for sixth grade so far is 97.92%, which also is good. So that's definitely, attendance is definitely a celebration for us. Also, for Footsteps to Brilliance, we have almost 4 million words read so far this school year, which is great. We're definitely looking to build that number, but we're happy with that, and we're really happy that our students at Lad Lane have written almost 2,000 books on Footsteps to Brilliance.
Diego?
Thank you for the reminder. En cuestión de lectura, estamos alegres que este año escolar nuestros estudiantes tienen más de 4 millones de palabras leídas. Y esperamos y sabemos que nuestros estudiantes que están en el sexto grado tienen un porcentaje de asistencia del 97.2. El año pasado no tuvimos estudiantes en este nivel y por eso no podemos comparar ese número, pero estamos agradecidos tener esa asistencia y ya para el año que entra y el resto del año escolar esperamos que sigue desarrollando la lectura de los estudiantes en el programa Footsteps to Brilliance. Estamos muy orgullosos también del número de libros que nuestros estudiantes están escribiendo en el programa de Footsteps to Brilliance, el cual es una de las partes interesantes de este programa.
Also, under the literacy topic, our school library media specialist is now starting a physical library book checkout system so that students can check out a book from our library, reserve it, and then come pick it up from our librarian so that they have physical books at home if that's something that they don't have in their house.
También lo que estamos haciendo es que en la biblioteca se está proveyendo la capacidad para que los estudiantes puedan sacar libros prestados. Ellos reservan el libro y luego pueden ir a recogerlo para que así tengan físicamente el libro en casa.
So another concern
Janine, hold on, have a little clarification, this is Trustee King. This is a great idea, hi. do they have like on their computer or whatever, they know what books are in the library and they go through that? How do they know which ones they wanna check out? Because you're not physically letting them in the
La
library.
pregunta es, ¿tienen información en la computadora sobre qué libros tienen en la biblioteca o cómo es que saben ellos qué libros quieren sacar prestados?
So yes, when students log into Clever, which is basically the platform where they log into all of their apps for education, their Google Classroom, their Gmail, we do have an app, it's called Solid, and our library media specialists have uploaded all the books that we have in there, and when they are checked out, they keep track of that. So if a student looks for a book and the book's available, then they can reserve it.
So, this sounds to me like, something we could do at every school, or am I wrong? How successful has it been?
You are correct. You're correct. I believe that all the schools are working on having a system like this.
Okay, so we are working on it in all our other schools, you know, I just want,
Yeah,
because it sounds great to me.
We're working together to get it rolled out to every site.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Okay, interpret.
La pregunta que se hizo anteriormente fue sobre cómo sabían los niños qué libros querían sacar. La respuesta es que sí, ahí donde tienen las aplicaciones, donde tienen todas las aplicaciones, se ha puesto todos los libros que tienen en la biblioteca y así los niños pueden ver qué libros tienen, qué libros quieren. El miembro de la mesa directiva sugirió que esto sería buena idea llevarlo a cabo en todas las escuelas. Y la respuesta es que sí, que ya están trabajando en esto para que todas las escuelas puedan tener esa capacidad.
And the other concern that myself and my staff had going into distance learning was the divide between the students who have lots of support at home and the students who do not. Because as we know, and President Bernanke alluded to this in the funding, our attendance wasn't that great, participation wasn't that great. Some families were able to work with their children during that time, and other children didn't get any education at all in the spring.
Y otra de las cosas que me preocupaban es la diferencia entre los niños que tienen el apoyo y esos que no tienen suficiente apoyo. En la primavera, cuando dejamos de venir a la escuela y empezamos el aprendizaje a distancia, vimos que había algunos padres donde podían ayudar a sus hijos, había mucha participación, pero también había otros donde no tenían esa participación y esa ayuda.
So because of that, I worked with my staff to figure out how we were going to close that gap between the students who have and the students who have not. So we created a schedule and we built in an intervention RTI schedule into every teacher's day. So we are providing over 200 hours of intervention a week to our students TK through 6th grade.
Así que me junté con el personal de mi escuela y tratamos de tener ideas de cómo podíamos hacer que los niños que tenían la ayuda y los que no tenían la ayuda no fuera esa diferencia tan grande. Entonces hicimos un horario de los maestros que están disponibles para hacer intervención y resultamos con 200 horas por semana para poderle ayudar a los niños y darle la ayuda a los que no tienen tanta participación en casa.
And as Mr. King mentioned, there definitely are some silver linings with distance learning, and I truly believe that this is one of them. Our teachers have at least 1 hour per day to work with these students who need extra interventions and extra support, whereas in the traditional setting, they were lucky to get 20 minutes a day to service these students.
Así que hay ciertas ventajas y que vemos, una de ellas es que ahora los maestros tienen como 1 hora para hacer intervención y ayudarles a los estudiantes, cuando en las clases regulares, con suerte, tenían 20 minutos.
Also, under interventions and our teachers working together, we are doing the co-teaching model.
Otra de las intervenciones que hemos hecho es que hay maestros donde trabajan 2 maestros juntos y en las mañanas están todos los estudiantes trabajando juntos, pero luego en la tarde se dividen y un maestro lleva un grupo y otro maestro lleva otro grupo. No importa si están en el programa RSP o no, pero en las tardes cada maestro trabaja con su propio grupo.
Another success for Glassline is that we really feel that we've made a strong school and family connectedness with our families and our students. And again, this is another worry going into this lesson. How are we going to build relationships with our families and our students when we're not seeing them on a regular basis?
Otra de las cosas positivas es que hemos tenido mejor conexión entre la escuela y los maestros. Al principio nos preocupábamos, si no nos estamos viendo, ¿cómo vamos a tener esa conexión con ellos?
One of the things that we did in District Watch that really helped to support these relationships was in August, every teacher met with every classroom, with every family or parent one-on-one the first 2 weeks of school to talk to them about their situation and their child and their needs. And teachers were really able to learn a lot about the family before we even really started school.
Y una de las cosas que hicimos a través de todo el distrito es que tuvimos conferencias con los padres en agosto, donde nos reunimos un maestro con un padre y repasamos la situación personal de cada uno de ellos, las necesidades de las familias, y así conocimos más a los estudiantes desde un principio cuando empezaron las clases.
Another silver lining is that our back-to-school night was a large success. I think it was easier for parents to attend. Between Leilani, my assistant principal, and I, we made it to every single classroom, and there was great turnout to every classroom in Glassline for back-to-school night, virtual back-to-school night.
Otra de las cosas que también fue muy positiva es que la noche de regreso a la escuela tuvimos muy buena participación. El asistente director y yo fuimos a cada salón y fue un regreso a la escuela virtual, pero tuvo mucho éxito.
Another thing that we implemented this year at Glassline for connecting with families is an app called Class Dojo. And I know we spoke a little bit about this last night. Class Dojo is a communication platform that we are using with our families. So every parent is on this app, and every teacher, as well as myself and Meilani Mailer, and we can communicate with our families very quickly. We can send out basically like a text message to families at the drop of a hat. And what I love most about it is families can translate it into any language that they need.
Otra cosa que implementamos este año, y ya se ha hablado de esto antes, una aplicación que tenemos que usamos en la clase, es una plataforma que hay para tener comunicación con las familias. Podemos mandarle un texto en el instante. Y lo bueno de esta aplicación también es que lo traduce a cualquier idioma.
So,
Sorry.
I was going to say, does anybody have any questions at this point?
Pregunta si alguien tiene alguna pregunta en este momento.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. We have about 3 more minutes with you.
Okay, I'll try to speed it up. We also, real quick, last week we had our first virtual spirit week, where we had a dress-up day every day of the week, and that was really fun and also helped to bring our families together and bring some fun to this morning.
Spirit Days.
También otra cosa que tuvimos la semana pasada tuvimos un día de espíritu, o sea, tener buena alegría, tener la noción de estar en la escuela, y eso fue virtual también y fue algo muy divertido que disfrutaron.
So real quick, I'll go over, we do have have some areas of growth that we're working on and some improvement areas that we'd like to improve on. One is the SST process. We're really working on improving our tier 1 instruction and our tier 2 RTI. This is what I explained to you the teachers are doing in the afternoons with students. In order to meet them where they are and make sure that they don't get put into a SPED class or SPED category if they don't really have a learning disability. So we're really working on that SST process.
Una de las áreas donde estamos trabajando y que necesitamos mejorar es cuando tenemos como una etapa 1 y etapa 2, lo que les expliqué anteriormente, donde los maestros trabajan con los estudiantes y se dividen en las tardes, porque lo que no queremos es que pongan estudiantes que no tienen cierta discapacidad y los tomen como que los estudiantes tienen una discapacidad, están categorizados equivocadamente.
And then two last things. One of our goals, which of course we wrote these before we knew we were doing distance learning, was to increase family participation and family engagement at our school. So we're working on trying to be creative and find out ways that we can still reach that goal even though we're doing distance learning.
Otra cosa que hicimos un plan para que tuviera las familias más participación, eso lo hicieron con diferentes escuelas, y esto fue antes de que tuviéramos este aprendizaje a distancia, pero ahora que lo tenemos, estamos tratando de ser más creativos para poder tener esta participación de las familias.
And the last thing that Mrs. Mailer and myself want to work on is, we don't get to communicate with the parents like we used to. We used to meet them, before school and on the yard, and we have a lot of families that come to Latter to volunteer, and we like to speak with parents a lot and communicate with them, and we're kind of missing that piece. So one thing that we are trying to set up is some sort of town hall, like we did prior to school starting, but maybe on a regular basis, maybe we'll call it coffee with the principal. Of course, it would be virtual, but this is time where we can hear out our parents and find out how we can better serve them.
Una de las cosas que sí estamos extrañando es que antes teníamos mucha comunicación con los padres, porque los veíamos antes de escuela, venían a visitar la escuela, eran voluntarios en la escuela y podíamos hablar con los padres, pero ahora eso sí es algo que extrañamos. Estamos tratando de tener ideas donde podamos reunirnos. Claro que sería virtualmente, pero por ejemplo, que le llamemos una visita con el director o algo similar así donde podamos tener todavía ese tipo de comunicación con los padres.
Are there any questions I can help answer?
I think having coffee with the principal is a great idea. I think, that should be something all of our districts are doing just to keep, checking in with our parents and getting a sense as to, what some of their concerns are as, they're doing a lot on their part, and it's that, like you're saying, it's providing that care for yourselves as staff and each other, and being mindful of that and just sharing that out with your parent community.
Absolutely.
Se me hace muy buena idea esto de poderse reunir con el director, porque así pueden compartir las cosas que les preocupan a los padres y también tener el cuidado, compartir esto, cómo se puede cuidar ellos, cómo puede cuidarse el personal y el hecho de que les preocupa estar al tanto de ellos.
Janine, are we going to redesignate as many kids this year as we have in previous years? Is there any impediment?
Are you thinking of redesignating as far as yell or yeller?
Yes.
Yes, that's the plan. We want to redesignate as many as we can. We may have to look at the criteria again because we don't have scores from last year. pronounce yourself anymore.
LPAC.
I believe it will be the LPAC this year and the CAP, so we might have to wait till the board come in to determine who's ready to reclassify, but it's definitely on the radar.
La pregunta es que si iban a volver a designar a los estudiantes. La respuesta es sí, queremos a volver a designarlos tantos como podamos, pero tenemos que tener ciertos criterios en su lugar y tenemos que tener ciertos resultados del CAP y que no han tenido ahorita. Tal vez después cuando lo tengan de las pruebas, ciertas pruebas que se tienen que hacer, entonces podrán reclasificar a los estudiantes.
Jan?
Hi, this is Jan Gress. You have your servicing RISE students. What did you mean by that?
So I think that you're looking at the wrong slides. I think that those haven't updated those yet.
Oh, okay.
We are servicing, let me translate, and then I can come out of it again.
Hizo una pregunta sobre algo que vio en uno de los dispositivos, pero dice no, creo que estaban equivocados. Anteriormente había dicho que no sabían, que ella los había probado después de que habían ya hecho la imprenta, así que están viendo uno equivocado.
So I will touch on that. We are helping out with our RISE students. If a student is enrolled in RISE, but RISE is their home school, we are still helping them out with tech support where we can. If they need a new device, we are trying to help swap the device for them. And also, as I mentioned earlier, that library checkout system, we also are working with Chip Ward to ensure that our RISE students can also participate in checking out books at RISE.
That's wonderful.
La pregunta es si están dando apoyo a los estudiantes que están participando en RISE y dice sí, estamos tratando de darles ayuda y darles los aparatos que necesitan, también como mencioné anteriormente de la biblioteca donde pueden sacar libros prestados, también están ellos participando en eso.
So they still have a home?
Yes, absolutely.
Pero todavía están en casa, sí, absolutamente.
They're still our babies.
Yep.
Todavía son nuestros niños.
Any other questions?
¿Alguna otra
Very good.
pregunta?
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
That was a great report.
Okay, thank you guys. Have a good evening.
Gracias.
Thank you.
And folks, tonight our Sunny Slope principal is gonna have, sorry, give me 1 second. All right. No calling, okay. Rob and Steve, can you see me? Liz and Jan, can you see me?
Yes.
Okay. My computer over here is doing all kinds of weird stuff, but, our Sunny Slope principal is gonna attend our next meeting and present. He had another obligation that came up, so I apologize for that. I didn't want it to delay the meeting because as we talked about last night, it was important to continue the meeting on the way we were. I do want to give the board a heads up. We do have a video from the Hollister Elementary School Teachers Association. It is 24 minutes long, so I'll pause it a couple of times throughout. For our interpreter, you're here in the office with me, so you'll be able to hear it, and then we'll hit pause if you just kind of give me a hand signal when you're ready, and then we'll translate it. My device over here in my office is being a little bit funny. It's kind of looks sort of grayed out, but if you can see me, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold up a backup computer I have, and I'm going to play the video. So,
Diego,
yeah.
You are actually frozen.
We heard your voice, but
with your mouth
you're
open.
frozen.
All right. Well, here's the other option we have. The video is, there's not a lot of graphics, so I could pause and explain what's on the slides, but you will absolutely hear the presentation if you can hear me.
Yeah, that's good.
What do you all think about that?
Yeah.
Would that work?
I'm good with that. I mean,
Okay. I wanted to be clear, it's, for whatever reason, Zoom link in my office decided 5 minutes ago to say that not.
I don't want to work right now.
It's just saying not responding, but I'm gonna hold up this laptop, so, for the board, I'll pass it
There
over
you
here.
go. We see you now, you're moving.
Yep.
Let's see how long it lasts.
El director de la escuela Stanislaw también tuvo otro compromiso y no pudo estar presente hoy, pero estará presente en la siguiente reunión. También hay un video de la Asociación de Maestros que va a presentar, es como 24 minutos de largo, y lo va a poner pausas para poder explicar, y tal vez no se pueda ver muy claro, pero lo pueden escuchar.
We can't hear it.
So far this year,
There we go.
many members, many HESTA members reached out to express gratitude for your willingness to hear from us directly. The information shared with you tonight has been collected through meetings, through our annual September survey, through our closed Facebook discussions, and good old-fashioned conversations. I would have liked for you to be able to see more faces and hear more voices tonight, but time has become an exceedingly valuable commodity. I was able to track down Katie Beckett, who was willing to present to you the experiences of the distance learning liaisons. She is not only a dedicated veteran teacher, PE teacher at Marguerite Mays, and she got together with her other distance learning liaison colleagues and to let you know what they're going through.
Está dando una explicación, dándole gracias a la mesa directiva por tener interés en este aprendizaje a distancia, y van a hacer una presentación para que vean por lo que están pasando los maestros con este aprendizaje a distancia.
As you listen, I hope that you can connect to the passion and loss our PE teachers are feeling this year because they don't get to be with their students.
Y espero que puedan sentir lo que el maestro está pasando por no poderse reunir con sus estudiantes.
I will turn you over to her. Thank you.
Que la presentación será hecha por el maestro.
My name is Katie Beckett. I am a physical education teacher at Mays Middle School, which means I'm a distance learning liaison. I've been asked to come and speak with you about what's going well and what's not necessarily going well for us as a group. And I have a slide here that outlines some of those concerns. Our biggest concern is as credentialed physical education teachers, we are not teaching our students.
Y que tengo unos dispositivos aquí que demuestran lo que las preocupaciones del aprendizaje a distancia. Una es que no tienen maestros suplentes tan seguido. Este es una clase de trabajo diferente.
Just the first one.
And that means our students are not getting guided physical activity, guided movement, skill development, and that really makes us all quite sad.
Uno de los maestros es traductor en las juntas del PEI y traduce los documentos para los padres y el personal.
So our responsibility is substitute teaching. Some of us are studying more than others. We call home and let parents know about concerns during their Google classrooms, problems with engagement, problems with discipline, following directions, and really trying to help parents understand how their students can be more successful in their Google classrooms.
Y están haciendo llamadas a la casa explicando cuáles son algunos de los problemas que tienen.
Some of that might also be helping them get connected with online into those classes.
Y alguno de esos también es ayudarles cómo hacer la conexión en línea.
Even though we don't teach those students, some of us know that we can students are learning as expected in the such resiliency program. We'll call home and let parents know that their students can attend their teacher's office hours after school for more support. Maybe they're missing some work or haven't completed some tasks that they need to show to office hours and get that extra help.
También los estudiantes que no están leyendo al nivel que deben, están tratando de proveerles la ayuda a través de las horas que los maestros tienen disponibles y reunirse también los maestros que se tienen que reunir en las reuniones del PIE.
We find sometimes the teachers may not necessarily know what their jobs are, so we'll give them tasks to do their tasks, and we'll do those tasks if we can.
Y los maestros tienen que ver los trabajos que necesitan tratar esos trabajos lo mejor que pueden hacerlo.
And we do clerical work, we do administrative work, we do tech work, and feel that collectively we haven't been trained, so sometimes feel that those, some of those tasks need to be off because we haven't been trained doing some of that.
Si hacemos trabajos diferentes, hacemos trabajo administrativo, trabajo de secretaria, hacemos trabajo que algunas no tenemos experiencia para hacer, pero estamos tratando de hacerlo.
So as a collective group, we haven't trained in some things, we also don't have the same job description as the job description site by site vary, depending on the site and administrator.
Y también la descripción del trabajo, o sea, las obligaciones de responsabilidades de trabajo son diferentes, porque a veces no tienen la administradora y ellos tienen que hacer trabajo de administración también.
So we generally think we're asked to do these supportive institutions and teachers. And for me, if that means making a call and helping a parent understand how their student can be more successful, then it's a good day, and I know how to do.
Tratamos también de hacer llamadas, como yo puedo estar llamando y hablar con los padres para ayudarle al estudiante que tenga éxito.
So that's what our job is like. I appreciate you listening to my presentation. Have a good evening.
Y así es como pasamos el día en el trabajo. Les doy las gracias por escuchar mi presentación. Que tengan muy buenas noches.
Our speech and language pathologists also collaborated on what they wanted the board to hear. Their top concern is being able to move forward with bilingual assessments without several trained interpreters. Additionally, the time to do in-depth assessments, especially those that must be conducted in both English and Spanish, and write reports will significantly impact already heavily impacted schedules.
Y las evaluaciones que tenemos que hacer, que son bilingües, es un rompecabezas porque no tenemos los intérpretes para que nos ayuden a hacer estos asesoramientos.
The district has decided all educators will use Google Meets, yet eTherapy does not utilize Google Meets, and has been at times very difficult for parents and children to log into.
El distrito quiere que usamos Google Meet, pero sin embargo, no todos usan eso y a veces es muy difícil para los padres y los estudiantes hacer la conexión.
eTherapy required additional training, uploading caseloads into spreadsheets, notifying every student and parent through email where and how to log on, in addition to days and times that they log on. And
también necesitamos más entrenamiento por todo lo que ahora necesitan hacer para mantener la información y enseñarle a los padres y a los estudiantes cómo conectarse ahí.
Setting up Zoom rooms for our students, for their students. With the introduction of eTherapy and extensive training on speech and language qualifications, assessments, and how to write reports. Speech and language pathologists feel they are being singled out for the high percentage of students identified with special education.
También tenemos que tener reuniones a través de Zoom, hacer ciertos asesoramientos que la terapeuta del lenguaje siente que tiene que estamos sola y tiene que hacer ciertas evaluaciones con alguno de los estudiantes.
There is criteria that students must meet to be eligible for speech. However, parents and their advocates are demanding services. Children identified as being on the spectrum, which is now one of 60, are asking for and receiving social skills with support through speech and language. While social skills are within their scope of practice, it does drive the numbers of speech and language students up.
Las terapeutas del habla también tienen que hacer asesoramientos de los estudiantes. Los estudiantes tienen que cumplir con cierta criteria para poder participar y también ahora tienen que ayudarles con destrezas sociales.
They have enjoyed seeing their students for therapy and supporting one another and sharing online lessons. It has brought them closer together as a PLC, and for that they are grateful.
Ellos tienen que ver a los estudiantes y luego trabajan juntos, que eso se dan apoyo ellos mismos y de eso ellos lo agradecen.
Supported by their site administration. They have seen the much needed addition of general education intervention and counseling, and they hope that will help mitigate the number of children in special education because of behavior concerns.
Ellos han visto que la administración del mismo local necesita ayudarles, necesita la participación de los niños en educación general y consejería.
Regarding small group instruction. So small group instruction in our district is offered in two different formats. One format is scheduled for students to show up at a specific time. If we think RSP teachers, intervention teachers, the students are leaving a regular classroom or asynchronous learning to attend a small group. And these educators who are able to deliver in this format say it works well. While there's
Una de las cosas también es cuando se reúnen con grupos pequeños y el formato que tienen que seguir, donde se tienen que presentar a cierta hora para poder asistir a estos grupos pequeños.
Still, time lost hunting down missing students is a manageable schedule for special ed service providers, intervention teachers, and others who can work outside the mandates of the MOU schedule.
Esto es tiempo que perdido de sus clases generales cuando tienen que reunirse con los maestros para la educación especial que necesitan.
And I know teachers who used it last spring very much enjoyed it.
Y yo sé que la primavera pasada los maestros lo disfrutaban.
Format is when teachers use breakout rooms. So the students are in a whole class, and the teacher provides other meeting links for students to join. They assign other meetings for students to join into small groups.
Los maestros hacen un horario para que los estudiantes puedan reunirse en grupos pequeños.
They're used in an attempt to keep students connected, either during middle school periods or in an elementary school setting to stay available to students who are working asynchronously. But we find it's difficult to get students to transition. It's difficult to monitor the different groups and to get students to return to the whole class.
Lo que hemos notado es que es difícil para los estudiantes hacer la transición y luego permanecer ahí en clase y luego después hacer la conexión para regresar a su clase regular.
Teachers who are successful say they feel successful because they have 2 to 3 screens to work with, but they know that Chromebooks are not reliable for this. I wanted to share with you the steps required to run breakout rooms. These were shared by one of our teachers on our closed Facebook group, and
Los maestros que tienen éxito dicen que tienen éxito porque tienen la ayuda que necesitan. Uno de los problemas son las tabletas, los Chromebooks.
it epitomized the experience. So for our breakout rooms, first you need to turn off all other programs and close any extra tabs. You cannot have anything else running while you try to do this. You need to
Tienen que apagar todos los programas, no pueden tener otras aplicaciones mientras están haciendo esto.
open all Google Meets so that you are the one in control, so that you are the host of each meeting. So if you want your class to work in partners and you have 26 students, you open up 13 Google Meets in order for them to do that.
Y luego también tienen que abrir la aplicación Google Meet. Si las clases están trabajando con compañeros y digamos que son 26, entonces tienen que abrir 3 aplicaciones.
If you want your class to be split into groups of 4 and you have 28 students, you will now have 7 additional Google Meets open.
Y si acaso quiere dividir los grupos en 4 y tienen 28 estudiantes, ahora tienen 7 aplicaciones de Google Meet que tienen que abrir.
For the students to break out into. And you have to have all of those open first so that students don't take over the control of microphone and the ability to kick others out.
Y luego tienen que tener todas estas aplicaciones abiertas primero para que los estudiantes no vayan a tomar control del micrófono y luego sacar a ciertos estudiantes.
Then you assign your students to small groups, right? So Henry, Sally, Fred, and Jorge, you guys are in group 4, et cetera, right? You go to this meeting link.
Y luego tienen que asignar a los estudiantes a los diferentes grupos, como decirle tú, fulanito y fulanito y fulanito están en tal grupo.
Go to this link. So you have to assign them, make sure they understand. Then you're checking to see if the students are attending the correct group, right? Because some students, they want to go with their friends, or some students click on the wrong one on accident, or some students just click on one because they weren't listening.
Y luego tienen que verificar que los estudiantes estén en el grupo que se les asignó, porque muchas veces ellos quieren estar con sus amigos y luego se salen de uno y quieren entrar a otro, así que los maestros tienen que asegurarse que están en el grupo correcto.
So you go around, you fix that, you make sure they're all in their correct group. Now you're able to monitor the groups, going from group to group in the hopes of hearing enough that you can provide some feedback to direct them into a more productive conversation.
Y luego los maestros tienen que ir viendo de grupo a grupo, están monitoreando cada grupo. Si acaso están en una conversación de no deben tratar de llevarlos otra vez a la conversación apropiada según la asignatura que están haciendo.
In the meantime, while all this is going on, you have crossed your fingers that you don't get bounced. Because as soon as you do, and you're kicked out of a group, you have lost the controls for that group. There's no way to get them back to the whole.
Y mientras tanto, mientras están checando cada grupo, es con la esperanza de que no vayan a votarlos, porque si los votan, entonces es muy difícil volver a entrar a ese grupo.
Whole group session to force them back. Regarding teaching, general education, whole class teaching, what works? We have amazing and dedicated and supportive parents in our district. We have the kind of students that inspire us as teachers to keep going when we really want to give up.
Tocante a la enseñanza, en educación general tenemos padres que nos dan mucho apoyo, tenemos estudiantes muy dedicados que nos dan las ganas de seguir adelante cuando ya estamos listos como para decir, ya no, los estudiantes nos inspiran a seguir adelante.
The first format we discussed, small groups that I described, that works. I think you get the picture about the second format. Now, hopefully Google will have streamlined breakout rooms by October. Finger crossed, it's teacher friendly. Not everything Google does is teacher friendly. We definitely like having the time in the afternoon to work with our students or go through their work and provide feedback or contact parents. Originally, the day was supposed to extend another 45 minutes, and parents reached out concerned, teachers reached out concerned, and we were able to come to an agreement to use that 45 minutes at teacher and parent discretion.
Luego ya les expliqué el primer formato, luego tenemos el segundo formato donde esperamos que Google para octubre sea más fácil para los maestros poder utilizarlo, porque a veces no es tan fácil. También el tiempo que tenemos después de las clases que tenemos para hablar con los estudiantes, con los padres en un día que se extiende, y utilizamos bien esos 45 minutos adicionales para poder tener el contacto con los maestros, con los padres y los estudiantes.
For what the students need. Right now, many teachers are accessible for most of the day through apps like Dojo. So parents will reach out at 6 a.m., they'll reach out at 8 p.m., whatever time they have available to help their students, and they might need help understanding what needs to be done. So teachers are on all the time, long days. So not just available during the workday.
Los maestros, ahora sobre lo que los estudiantes necesitan, los maestros tienen que estar disponibles con ciertas aplicaciones, porque los padres puede ser que necesiten ayuda, entonces el maestro tiene que estar disponible todo el día, un día largo.
Tech support has been great. Thank you, IT, for doing everything you've done. We know things aren't perfect. We know you've done your best with what you've had, and we greatly appreciate that. Many of our schools and teams, we've really pulled together to help each other through this. Without that time to collaborate, we'd be dead in the water. But there's a lot
por el apoyo. Muchas escuelas tienen equipos. Si no estuviéramos trabajando con equipos, si no pudiéramos colaborar uno con otro, todo estaría muy mal, todos estaríamos muertos de que no se puede llevar a cabo, pero tienen la colaboración y el equipo.
Obviously, right? Teachers are torn between needing to be face-to-face with our students and keeping everyone safe and healthy. And that alone is a tremendous strain, which I'm not sure that I can describe to anybody.
A los estudiantes, a los maestros, sienten no tener a los estudiantes allí presentes, pero tenemos que seguir la seguridad y la salud en cuenta.
You see the student that you care about, you identify their needs, and you can't be there to help them with it. But you also know that the risks that you would put them in to be there to help them with, and the risks to you and your own family, it's not worth it. But it is.
Y vemos a los estudiantes que nos importan mucho, podemos identificar sus necesidades y sentimos no poder estar ahí con ellos para ayudarles, pero tomamos en cuenta los riesgos para uno, riesgos para la familia.
It's a tremendous strain. The delay in receiving access to certain programs and materials, some of this is completely out of people's control. For example, the Google rollout of breakout rooms next month, not in anybody's control. But when it happens, it's going to put a halt to some learning while we learn how to use it, while we train the students how to use it. And now we're able to finally work, collaboratively.
Y las demoras basadas en los problemas que tenemos cuando tenemos algún problema con las aplicaciones, el entrenamiento que le tenemos que dar a los estudiantes, pero ahora estamos trabajando, colaborando unos con otros.
Okay, but on the other end of that spectrum, there were things completely within our control. There were schools whose math books and ELD programs were not ordered in a timely manner, and we're receiving those things now, 5 weeks into the school year. School Wi-Fi has gotten better, but multiple teachers are still experiencing low speed at their sites. Sometimes parents forget that we can hear everything, and sometimes the lag in the internet prevents us from being able to mute the family fast enough, and students and teachers hear things that we probably shouldn't, that we shouldn't be hearing.
También hubo problemas de que no se ordenaron ciertos aparatos que necesitábamos a tiempo, y aquí estamos 5 semanas ya después de haber empezado la escuela. El internet Wi-Fi ha mejorado, pero también tenemos otros problemas con los padres que se les olvida que podemos escuchar todo lo que dicen, y hay a veces conversaciones que nosotros no deberíamos estar escuchando, ¿no?
Our district adopted programs don't sync well with Google Classroom. So students have to navigate through different tabs and websites, or the teachers find a workaround.
Algunos de los planes de estudio no coinciden con las aplicaciones que tienen, y entonces los estudiantes tienen que estar navegando y yendo a ciertos sitios electrónicos, pero los maestros están tratando de resolver esos problemas.
The hours are too long. Students are fried, our teachers are fried, and I'm going to get to that a little bit later, more on that. It's stressful dealing with a 20 to 30% bounce rate. One of the survey questions asked teachers about what percentage of their students get kicked out of meetings. And while there are schools that experience, and teachers who experience a very low percentage of this, there are teachers who see 20 to 30% of their students getting kicked out and coming back in, getting kicked out and coming back in, and that constant movement is exhausting, and trying to figure out what they have heard and what they have missed. It's difficult. It's difficult both on students and teachers.
Las horas son demasiado largas, los estudiantes están cansados, los maestros están cansados, y luego donde ocurre cuando botan a los estudiantes fuera, de repente están en la reunión y los estudiantes ya no están conectados. Eso es muy difícil, porque entonces tenemos que figurar qué es lo que escucharon, qué fue lo que no escucharon, y es algo demasiado cansado para tener que tratar de figurar todo esto.
There have been too many added tasks this year, rather than just focus on developing the best digital programs that we can develop, our best lesson plans, and putting those forth. We've been asked to do things that don't directly correlate to the classroom. It's building for the future, and we understand that is important, but now is not the time. And I will talk about that in a little bit. Additionally, many of us feel that there are unreasonable expectations placed upon distance learning right now. It's not just on teachers, it's also on students. And we understand that some of these expectations are coming from the state. We are asking our district to find a way to help shield the teachers and the students from those expectations.
Hay muchas responsabilidades adicionales que se le han asignado a los maestros, no solo el programa digital y planeamiento de lecciones, sino que hay muchas otras que ahora se esperan que los maestros tengan que hacer, en el salón, hay unas expectativas que no son razonables y sabemos que mucho de esto viene del Estado.
And again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Switching from in-person to digital learning has been like learning to brush your teeth with your toes. You're not sure though if your toothbrush will change in the night with an update, right? And you still have to do everything else you used to do simultaneously while trying to concentrate on brushing your teeth with your toes.
Quizás haber hecho el cambio de como enseñábamos antes, ahora estar enseñando a distancia es muy difícil para una persona. Es como, por ejemplo, aprender a lavarse los dientes usando los dedos de los pies. Y mientras está tratando de hacer eso, al mismo tiempo tenemos que estar haciendo todo lo que anteriormente teníamos que hacer.
This is one of the great stressors for teachers, and it's having to recreate everything that we've done before, taking in and doing a task analysis of not just the standard that the student needs to learn, but where they are technologically speaking, what they need to be taught how to do. We always say how kids seem to be so intuitive with technology, but this isn't true for all of our students. That is very much a class-based observation. So we definitely need to be careful when we think and assume that that students already need.
Esto está causando un estrés muy grande para los maestros porque tienen que volver a crear todo lo que ya antes habían hecho. Y tienen que cumplir con ciertos estándares. Siempre decimos que los niños están muy avanzados en tecnología, pero eso no aplica para todos los niños. No todos los estudiantes están en la misma base y a veces es muy difícil saber quiénes son los que no pueden estar al corriente con la tecnología y los que sí.
Already know how to do things. The next piece I'd like to talk about is really that this is hard. It's really hard. I would have very much liked our report to be a whole lot shorter than this. We have a lot of programs to use with our students, but it takes a lot of time to figure out how they work and how students work them. Everything we did in the classroom that we still want to use, it needs to be converted for digital use. We have to create new ways to teach for anything that involves student collaboration. And then imagine being in front of your classroom, desks set up in neat rows, smiling faces, and then boop, a student at his desk disappears, and all the desks shift to fill the space. And
Esto voy a cambiar ahora. Ha sido muy difícil tener que enseñar en programas que anteriormente estábamos usando, pero ahora todos estos programas se tienen que cambiar para que sean digitales y poder tener uso de ellos. Tenemos que convertirlos. Imagínense estar en un escritorio enfrente de un salón donde puedan ver a todos sus estudiantes sonrientes y de repente uno se le desaparece y luego de repente todos cambian.
the student reappears at the bottom corner, and boop, it happens again with a different student. It's exhausting, constantly tracking who is where for attendance, which most learners are where, are they in, am I making sure that they get what they need? Where are my students with IEPs? Are they here so that I can make sure that I accommodate what they need? Where are my students that I'm concerned for their social emotional well-being? Are they here so that I can check in and making sure that they get what they need?
y luego de repente se nos desaparece otro estudiante y luego el que se nos desapareció anteriormente, de repente aparece otra vez, pero en otro lugar. Tenemos que estar seguros sobre la asistencia y dónde están los estudiantes que están aprendiendo el inglés para poder ofrecerles lo que necesitan, dónde está el estudiante donde tiene su programa de PIE. Tenemos que asegurarnos que están recibiendo toda la ayuda que necesitan. Los estudiantes están teniendo problemas socioemocionales, también dónde se encuentran ellos para darles la ayuda que ellos necesitan.
And all the while we are constantly doing this, we are remembering how to use our newly developed digital piece that we created and what we were going to say next. And at the end of 4.5 hours, we are drained from searching for information from their faces. Are they understanding? Are they engaged? And constantly trying to process all of this with the lag time. Even with the most perfect internet, there is still that lag time.
Y luego al final de 4 horas y media estamos viendo, queremos ver en sus caras, nos están entendiendo lo que le estamos enseñando, están participando y aún cuando tengamos el mejor sistema de internet, siempre existen los problemas.
This is stuff nobody can fix. It is the job right now. But it's why we need administrators to be back making sure we have what we need and absolutely not asking us to do more. For all of the administrators who are taking small groups and covering classes, thank you. You are the same ones who are reported by our members as hearing your teachers. But for those of you asking us to give up our Wednesday collaboration time for mid-year professional development, or assigning homework from meetings, or sitting in on your teacher's Google Meets for 30 minutes at a time, whether your camera is on or off. These are all signs that someone is out of touch with what their teachers are doing.
También tenemos los administradores y gracias por lo que hacen ayudarnos cuando entran y están ayudando a grupos pequeños, les agradecemos todo eso, pero también al mismo tiempo cuando van a clases o que nos piden que dejemos los miércoles donde teníamos el tiempo para colaboración. A veces pensamos que estas son personas que no saben qué es lo que los maestros en realidad están haciendo.
And I want to share some data with you that came in from our survey. First off, for those who think that teachers might not be doing a whole lot because we can't see them doing a whole lot, 60% of the teachers surveyed report working 10 or more hours a day. I made a mistake in my survey because I did not specify between weekdays and weekends. I did have multiple teachers report that they are working those hours on weekends also.
Ahora quiero compartir con ustedes alguna información en una encuesta que se hizo de los maestros que contestaron. El 60% de los maestros están diciendo que están trabajando a 10 horas o más al día. Hice un error en la encuesta porque no pregunté sobre fines de semana, pero hay maestros que están reportando que aún en los fines de semana están trabajando ese número de horas.
With this comes 40% of the teachers surveyed are experiencing anxiety, frustration, depression, and high levels of stress.
Y el 40% de los maestros que tomaron la encuesta están experimentando estrés, ansiedad, frustración.
24% have headaches from being online for 4.5 hours a day or more.
El 24% están teniendo dolores de cabeza de tener que estar en la computadora por 4 horas y media o más.
Are experienced an increase in eye pain.
22%. 22% eye pain and eye.
El 22% están teniendo dolor en los ojos.
20% experiences stiffness from sitting.
El 20% sienten el cuerpo muy tieso por el tiempo que están sentados.
This includes neck pain, back pain, knee pain, jaw pain. The MOU mandates breaks at certain times, and we can get up and walk around a little bit, but this is way more sitting than we are used to, that we are accommodated to, and those little breaks, it's not the same as what's allowed in a regular office setting.
Y el 20% está diciendo que tiene, se siente muy tieso, que le duele el cuello, la espalda, la rodilla, la quijada, y claro que tenemos descansos, pero son descansos pequeños donde caminamos un poquito, pero no es igual a anteriormente que podíamos caminar más, porque ahora nos la pasamos la mayor parte del tiempo sentados.
We don't get to just stand in the middle of class. That's one more thing to remember with all the things I just described. 19% of us have trouble sleeping. 16% of us report exhaustion and fatigue.
Y no es lo mismo poder caminar. Anteriormente nos podíamos parar a media salón. Ahora el 19% reporta que tiene dificultad para dormir, el 16% reporta fatiga.
And also other symptoms that were reported: upset stomach, hair loss, high blood pressure, chest pain.
Y otros síntomas que se reportaron, el dolor de estómago, dolor del pecho,
Y pérdida de pelo.
o si el pelo, que siente que se le está cayendo el pelo.
Now, the way the question was presented, it was open-ended. Teachers put down the words that describe their symptoms, and then I just put them into groups so that I could give you percentages. These were not ideas given to them. These are things that they are actually experiencing.
Y los maestros reportaban sus síntomas, después yo los dividí en grupos. Estos no fueron ideas que se les presentaron a ellos, fueron ideas que ellos escribieron y luego yo los pasé y los dividí en grupos.
We need to go back to the table. We were seeing a teacher shortage prior to distance learning, and we can't afford to burn out the teachers we have. Those old enough will retire. Those young enough will find new careers. Those stuck will just stop caring and get sick. As I sign off tonight, I am begging the Hollister School District.
Anteriormente, antes de que empezáramos con este aprendizaje a distancia, había escasez de maestros. Ahora esto es peor porque los maestros ya mayores mejor se están jubilando. Los jóvenes están buscando otro trabajo y los que aún se quedan están padeciendo de diferentes enfermedades.
To take care, my friends and colleagues, to take care of your educators. That survey was very difficult for me to read. To see the pain, the frustration, the struggle they are all going through, and in some ways powerless to help them.
Y yo les pido a los miembros de la mesa directiva que vean por lo que mis colegas, mis amigos están pasando. Fue muy difícil ver esta encuesta, ver el dolor, la frustración, las dificultades por las que están pasando.
We are drowning. Please reach out a hand and ask us how you can help. And I don't just mean this from the Board of Trustees or our superintendent. We need every administrator on board with us. We don't need one single one trying to catch us being wrong.
Y les pedimos a ustedes que traten de hacer conexión con nosotros, que nos pregunten de qué manera nos pueden ayudar. Y no me refiero nada más a la junta directiva ni al superintendente, también me estoy refiriendo a todos los administradores que tienen que comprender y estar con nosotros y no nada más tratar de encontrar algo mal que nosotros hacemos.
Thank you for listening. Have a good rest of your night.
Gracias por escucharme, que pasen muy buena noche.
And I'll open it up for any comments or any questions that the board might have. I do have a presentation and I have a call coming in, so give me a second here. Hello, this is Mr. Ochoa. I'm doing very well. How are you, Bill? Good.
No, we can't hear him.
Diego, we cannot hear you.
All right, can you hear me now?
Now we can.
Yes.
All right, so Bill, you're on the line with our school board. We do have an interpreter, so as you comment and speak to the board, just give pauses every once in a while so that an interpreter can interpret what you're saying, but also any questions or any comments that the board might give.
Diego, we don't know who the caller is. Is this a public
Caller,
comment?
yeah, the caller is Bill Parcell. He is Vice President of the Hollister Elementary School Teachers Association.
Thank you.
Bill.
Yes.
All right, the floor is yours.
I'm here for any questions you guys might have. We already put together a presentation, so if you guys have any questions, I am here for you.
All right, so members of the board, we have Bill on the line for any questions you might have.
La persona que está en la línea es el vicepresidente de la Asociación de Escuela de Hollister. Está aquí para contestar cualquier pregunta que la junta directiva pueda tener.
Diego, I have a question.
Go right ahead.
So, Mr. Purcell, first of all, thank you for the efforts to put that video together. I'm going to ask for a link to it so I don't have to watch it as chopped up as it was. But my question is, what percentage of your membership viewed that video before it got sent to us?
La pregunta es, primeramente quiere darle las gracias por el video que hicieron y desea verlo otra vez cuando no pueda verlo seguidito que es cortado así como se presentó. Pero la pregunta es, ¿qué porcentaje de la membresía vio este video antes de que nos lo enviaran a nosotros?
Yes, the video went out today to our membership. I have no idea how many of you get it.
El video salió a todos los miembros hoy, no tengo idea qué porcentaje de ellos ya lo vieron.
Okay, thank you.
Está bien, gracias.
Jan, do you have any questions?
Bill, how many actual respondents did you have for the survey?
It was over 100.
Okay.
There are, close to 300 of us. But it
Sure.
Wait,
it's a good population.
La pregunta es, ¿cuántos de los miembros respondieron a la encuesta que se hizo? Esa fue la pregunta, la respuesta es más de 100, somos más de 300, pero fueron más de 100 los que contestaron.
Liz, do you have any questions?
I think it was hard to follow just because, it was broken up so much, but I can understand their perspective and their point of view, coming from a teacher and how demanding, all these changes and different ways of teaching, is for them. I can't, even imagine, but for myself, I every chance I get to appreciate a teacher and everything they do, it's a passion. Teaching is a passion. You do it because you love it and you love working with kids. And it's a tremendous amount of work. And I don't feel teachers get paid enough for what they do. But that's at a whole different conversation, outside of our district. And, the fact that, they want us to reduce some of the mandates that we're given, I don't know how that could even be possible
Okay,
for
pause for a
us
second, Liz.
to do.
Yeah, pause for a
I
second.
need a translation. Is she listening? I don't know if she can hear.
Yes, thank you.
Obviously.
Sí, yo también estoy de acuerdo que fue difícil ver el video así como se estaba cortando, pero sí comprendo el punto de vista de los maestros, los cambios por los que han tenido que pasar, las diferentes maneras como tienen que enseñar ahora, y no me puedo ni imaginar siquiera lo difícil que es eso. Yo cada vez que tengo la oportunidad de agradecer el trabajo que hacen los maestros, lo hago. Los maestros que trabajan porque tienen pasión a su trabajo, porque es muchísimo trabajo que tienen que hacer y en realidad yo no pienso que a los maestros se les paga lo suficiente, pero ese es otro asunto. No veo cómo podamos nosotros rebajar las obligaciones o lo que se nos ha mandado que sí debemos hacer.
Okay, Liz, I just want to respond to a couple of things you said. It was really interesting to see this happen with the technology tonight, and Diego having to deal with presenting our presentation that should have been, done perfectly. But guess what? It doesn't always come off perfectly. And so the stress involved, I know Diego was probably up just a little bit trying to get that video to play.
Quiero responder algunas de las cosas que usted mencionó. Es interesante la tecnología y pues se hizo ese video y desgraciadamente no se pudo presentar como se debió haber presentado así seguidito, pero es interesante también ver cómo Diego tuvo que batallar con la tecnología. Ahorita estoy segura que su estrés subió porque quería que todo saliera bien.
So this is a daily, hourly occurrence with us and the technology issues, trying to make sure that our students are getting the best education that we have to offer. And, it was kind of interesting to see you guys deal with it. And it should have been a beautiful presentation. And I invite everybody to please watch it without the choppiness, because it is a great presentation put together by Angela.
Sí, es interesante ver que lo que ustedes están pasando, y es algo que los maestros pasan por esto diario, cada hora, y el estrés por lo que tienen que pasar, al mismo tiempo preocuparse por los estudiantes, el aprendizaje de ellos, la tecnología, y tratar de ofrecerle a los estudiantes la mejor educación posible. Qué lástima que no pudieron ver la presentación en video, hace todo seguidito, porque fue una presentación hermosa que hizo Ángela.
Mr. Parcell, I just want to acknowledge that I agree with you on the presentation piece and how we handled it. It did not go unnoticed by Mr. Kane and I here. I also would like to let our fellow Belk board members know that while we were here after that comment, both Superintendent Ochoa and Hester President Hagens emailed it, at least to me, and I'll email it, or I'll make sure Diego emails it if you as individuals did not get it.
All got it, I believe she emailed it to all of us.
Bueno, quiero hacerles saber que a la presentación, aunque hoy se tuvo que presentar de esa manera, el superintendente Ochoa ya me había enviado a mí el video anteriormente y no sé si se los envió a todos, pero yo me aseguraré que se los envíen a todos. Y la otra miembro de la mesa directiva dice que sí se les envió a todos ya anteriormente.
Steve? Well, okay, I can go. In listening to the video, it's hard to listen to a video like that, being a teacher, and realizing what you are saying is true. Those things probably do happen, and to be honest, if I was teaching, I would have retired. I personally could not have done this. So my many thanks and gratitude go to the teachers that have been doing this unbelievably difficult task that they didn't ask for, but basically have been put into. So my heart does go out to the teachers that have been putting in these hours, because again, it's more than I know I could have done. And I taught for 30 years. So from that perspective, it was hard to listen to, because I believe exactly what you've been saying. My issue, not an issue, the problem is we've been all put in this situation. It's not something any of us want. And if there was some way to make it better, I'm all ears. My only solace in this is it's not going to last forever, and that if we are able to hang in there, hopefully sooner than later, we'll at least be able to get back to some type of hybrid program where students are back in school. Until that time, we are just going to have to work together to try to figure out if there is something that we can actually do to make it better. I don't see why we shouldn't look into those things.
Stop it there.
Sí, fue muy difícil para mí también ver este video, porque yo sé lo difícil que es para los maestros tener que estar enseñando bajo estas circunstancias. Todo lo que dijeron es muy cierto. Yo si fuera maestro y tuviera que estar enseñando bajo estas circunstancias, yo me hubiera jubilado. Así que le doy las gracias, estoy muy agradecido por el trabajo tan increíble que están haciendo. Porque ninguno de nosotros pidió estar en esta situación, no es algo que estamos aquí porque lo pedimos, todos estamos en una situación así. Agradecemos las horas tan largas que están poniendo y todo lo demás que tienen que hacer. Yo lo comprendo porque yo fui maestro y enseñando por 30 años y es muy difícil para mí escuchar todo lo que se dijo, porque es algo increíble lo que están diciendo, lo que están haciendo, pero estuvimos puestos en esta situación y en todos tenemos que trabajar juntos para hacer lo mejor que se pueda de esta situación y ojalá que no dure para siempre. También podemos, ojalá que pronto, entrar a un programa híbrido donde vienen parte a la escuela y parte se da a distancia. Pero todos en la escuela tenemos que trabajar juntos en esta situación donde estamos ahorita.
Okay, I'm going to yell a little bit so people can hear me. I'm sorry.
Actually, Jan Grist has a question for you, Mr. Marcel.
Maybe he wants to respond.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I'd like to respond to the thoughts that were or Mr. Kane did share. And when teachers ask for grading program that transfers the grades from Google Classroom to Invention Campus, saving hours and hours of time that costs $2 a month per teacher, please approve it. And when we ask for any application, like Padlet, to make our documentation please approve them. They're not very expensive. These are the things we need. We need time. Please tell the principals to give us the time to give us the time to work with our collaborators.
Que quiero responder a una de las palabras que dijo el miembro de la mesa directiva. Es muy difícil para los maestros hacer las notas de calificación y luego hacer las transferencias, así que les pido que cuando pedamos un aumento, o sea, $2 al mes, por favor apruébenlo. Cuando pedimos más aplicaciones para hacer nuestro trabajo un poco más fácil, por favor apruébenlo. Cuando pedimos más tabletas, por favor apruébenlo. Yo sé que esto cuesta, pero nos haría la vida más fácil para nosotros. Cuando pedimos más tiempo, por favor díganle a los administradores, a los directores de la escuela que nos den ese tiempo adicional que pedimos para poder colaborar unos con otros.
Okay, Jan?
Yes, Bill, do you still have your prep period?
Yes, we still have a second period. On Wednesdays, we should have some collaboration time in our
Time we're gonna
so the level is going to wait for us for some couple of weeks to do professional development for the listeners.
So you're not getting collaborative time?
We were offered collaboration time today.
So
La
is
pregunta
it,
era si acaso todavía tienen su periodo de preparación y dice sí, los miércoles, pero se nos quitó el tiempo de colaboración por un tiempo y no lo estaban obteniendo. Entonces la pregunta fue, entonces no tienen el tiempo de la colaboración. Dice sí, no lo volvieron a ofrecer hoy.
so for the rest of the year now, or Wednesday's gonna be collaborative time?
Yes, they should be for our collaboration with our co-teachers, not for professional development.
All right, so there will be no more PD time and the rest is going to be just collaborative time? And is it with your department or grade level?
Thank you for offering that, Jan. We would very much appreciate it.
No, I can't offer it. I'm asking you, is that what is supposed to happen?
Contractually, yes.
negotiate.
Okay, and I'm asking you, is the collaborative time supposed to be grade level, or is it supposed to be by department?
It could be either. It's up to the
Okay.
teacher.
It's the teacher's choice?
It should be, yes.
Okay.
Así que la pregunta fue si el resto del año escolar, los miércoles tendrán su tiempo para colaboración. Y la respuesta es sí, tendremos tiempo para colaboración, pero no para desarrollo profesional. Después la pregunta fue si sería la colaboración entre departamento o entre los grados, nivel de grados. Y dice que depende del maestro, esa será decisión de los maestros cómo lo utilizan.
In regard to the interruptions that we're having with the delivery of the lesson, you know that I have a very severely autistic grandson, and so it takes two of us every day. And he can't speak very many, and he can say, "Oh, snap." So you know that on our end, when someone who can barely speak can say, "Oh, snap," that we hear it a lot on our end as well. So I understand the frustration about the breakup of the lesson and how frustrating that would be on your end.
Tocante la interrupción al dar la presentación de las lecciones, yo, usted sabe, tengo un nieto que tiene autismo y así que comprendo bien la frustración de los maestros cada vez que tienen esa interrupción.
But I
I'm
think,
not sure, may I
Sure.
I am not sure if the board knows that there are no physical education classes offered this year to our students. Other districts, the high school, Spring Grove, and the other school districts still have physical education. And our kids are getting no physical education instruction whatsoever. And I'm not sure if you are aware of that.
Yes, we are aware of that.
Otra cosa es que no estoy seguro si ustedes, los miembros de la mesa directiva, saben que no hay clases de educación física que se les está ofreciendo a los estudiantes de este distrito. Otras escuelas, otros distritos han seguido ofreciendo las clases de educación física a los estudiantes. No sé si ustedes están enterados de eso. La respuesta es sí, sí estamos enterados de eso.
You know, Bill, I think that one of the things everybody needs to understand that come February, March, April, May, and I guess June, the state is going to be giving us hardly any money. This is called their deficit. What do you call it, Rob? Deficit
Spending.
not giving us any money.
Yeah, deferring.
Deferring, that's right. So we're going to be in a world of hurt come February, March, April, May, and June. And so we all want you guys to get paid. And so we have to plan accordingly.
¿Sabe una de las cosas? Que llegando febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, junio, el Estado no nos va a dar fondos. Esto es lo que le llaman un gasto en déficit. Bueno, no sé cómo le llaman, o que lo refieren para otro tiempo. Vamos a estar muy dolidos por esto, pero queremos que a ustedes se les pague.
So everybody's in a hard place right now. And as Steve said, this year is going to be really hard. Not going to be easy on any of us, from the children, the parents, our staff. It's not easy. Can we make some concessions to make it better? Of course. Do we want it? I wish we could wave a wand and make all this technology problems go away. We can't. Would we like to? Absolutely. But, you know, it is what, you know.
Jan,
I'm sorry.
Bueno, sabe que todos estamos en una situación muy difícil. Como dijo uno de los miembros anteriormente, este año es muy difícil para todos, para los niños, para los padres, para los maestros, para todos los educadores y administradores. Quisiera que hubiera una varita mágica que pudiéramos nada más menearle, quisiera que todos los problemas con la tecnología desaparecieran, pero pues eso no puede suceder.
Bill, we are all frustrated. Personally, I haven't seen my family. I haven't seen my friends. I'm called one of these called long haulers now, where it's just, you know, it's crazy stuff. So I absolutely understand everybody is frustrated. And everybody understands that. And I wish it could be better. And there are things that we can do, Bill, and we will try to do. And I think your presentation, that's why I asked teachers to speak. I was the board member that insisted that teachers speak, because we needed to hear from you.
Quiero que entienda que todos estamos muy frustrados. Yo personalmente me siento frustrada por el hecho de que no he visto a mi familia, no he visto a mis amistades, y comprendemos, queremos que ustedes también comprendan que todos estamos pasando por lo mismo. Y por eso fue que yo pedí que los maestros hablaran. Yo fui la persona que pidió específicamente que los maestros hablaran porque queríamos escucharlos.
But we all have to realize that we're in this same boat. and wasn't created by any of us.
Hey Jan, we're gonna have to move on here.
Right.
Y podremos hacer algo, tal vez sí podamos hacer algo y trataremos, pero todos estamos en la misma situación.
Mr. Parcell, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you. Thanks, Bill.
Superintendent Ochoa, do we have any more on topic 13B?
We do. We have a short presentation from the Classified School Employees Association. I shared it with the board via email. I will present it for CSEA unless we get a phone call into the system here from CSEA in which they basically can walk us through their slides. And if I see that phone flash over on the side, I'm going to pivot directly to our CSEA employees. This is an 8-slide presentation. The CSEA held their first virtual chapter meeting on August 24th, and they were notified on how different this new school year was due to the COVID-19 pandemic and distance learning. The group and the district negotiated on the impacts and effects of returning to work and what and how additional duties would be performed by classified staff.
Y esta fue una presentación que hizo miembros de empleados clasificados. El capítulo 625 tuvo su primera reunión del capítulo, una reunión virtual para el año escolar 2021, el 24 de agosto del 2020. El personal clasificado se les notificó qué tan diferente iba a estar este año escolar a consecuencia de la pandemia y el aprendizaje a distancia. Se reunieron el grupo con el distrito y negociaron sobre los impactos y efectos de regresar al trabajo y cómo responsabilidades adicionales tendrían que ser hechas por el personal clasificado.
The technology supports specialists have helped distribute Chromebooks beginning in March and all the way through August to students and staff. They provided a technology professional development to help staff navigate their computers and use software from Google. This group of specialists is providing amazing support to staff, students, and parents regarding connection issues, Google Hangout, Google Meet, or logging on to device issues.
El especialista de apoyo tecnológico le ayudó a distribuir las tabletas durante marzo hasta agosto a los estudiantes y al personal. Provieron desarrollo profesional sobre tecnología para ayudarles al personal a navegar con las computadoras y el uso de los programas de Google. También se les dio apoyo al personal, a los estudiantes, a los padres sobre cómo tener la conexión, las diferentes aplicaciones de Google Hangout y Zoom y los problemas al tener las reuniones y cómo conectarse y los problemas para la conexión.
Mental health therapists have attended trainings at the beginning of the school year and have been providing mental health services to students while attending virtual IEP meetings.
La terapeuta de salud mental ha asistido al entrenamiento al principio del año escolar y ha estado dando servicios de salud mental a los estudiantes y asistiendo a las reuniones del PEI a través de a distancia virtualmente.
Paraprofessionals and instructional assistants have attended a technology PD at the end of last school year and some additional trainings this school year to help support families, students, and staff. They are helping their classrooms virtually by taking attendance, providing one-to-one services, submitting service logs, reading to our students, doing fun activities, and providing small group instruction.
Los paraprofesionales y asistentes de instrucción asistieron una junta de tecnología al final del año escolar y han tenido entrenamiento adicional este año escolar para ayudar a dar apoyo a las familias, estudiantes y el personal. Están ayudando en los salones virtualmente, están tomando lista de asistencia, están proveyendo servicios uno a uno, están sometiendo la información sobre los servicios que se proveen, leyéndole a los estudiantes, haciendo actividades divertidas y proveyendo instrucción a grupos pequeños.
Our custodians and maintenance have been working hard since the time of our closures. They've been sanitizing all the common area surfaces at their site and assisting with maintaining the school sites and doing much needed upkeep such as painting and weeding.
Los conserjes y trabajadores de mantenimiento han estado trabajando mucho en la escuela desde que cerraron las clases. Están ayudando a que haya sanidad en todas las áreas comunes y en todos los sitios, ayudando al distrito a mantener los sitios limpios con mucho trabajo que tienen que hacer para mantenerlo, incluyendo pintar, quitar hierbas.
Transportation and delivery drivers. Transportation has been delivering food, supplies, and packets to our families that need assistance and are not able to go to our school site. Our amazing delivery drivers are seen delivering food and warehouse supplies to our student nutrition teams in our schools.
Los choferes de transportación y los que hacen entrega han estado entregando comida, útiles, paquetes a las familias que necesitan asistencia y que no pueden venir al sitio escolar. Estos increíbles trabajadores están entregando comida, útiles de bodega, nutrición para los estudiantes a las escuelas.
Student nutrition has been providing meals back when schools closed and is still continuing strong. Our staff, our amazing student nutrition staff, have been working hard to provide meals to our families on a weekly basis.
Ahora, nutrición para los estudiantes. Se les está proveyendo comidas desde que cerraron las escuelas y todavía continúan. Nuestros increíbles personal para la nutrición de los estudiantes han estado trabajando para proveer comida a todas las familias semanalmente.
And finally, yard duties and site and DO secretarial staff. These employees have been extremely busy the last 30 days, calling our families whenever a student is absent for their class session, providing Chromebooks and hotspots to families that call requesting either one of those supplies, assisting families and staff with technology problems, and if needed, submitting tech tickets to provide IT assistance, being present at home visits to drop off supplies, and printing out packets needed for a class or a program.
Los trabajadores que revisan la yarda o el personal de secretarias han estado trabajando extremadamente ocupadísimas en estos últimos 30 días. Están llamando a las familias cuando un estudiante está ausente de su sesión de clase. Están proveyendo los Chromebooks y los hotspots, o sea, del internet, para las familias que lo están pidiendo o que necesitan estos útiles. Están ayudando a familias y al personal con problemas de tecnología, si es que la necesitan, y obteniendo los tickets para que se les provee la asistencia tecnológica. Están haciendo visitas a las casas o están llevando útiles que necesitan, están imprimiendo los paquetes que se necesitan para la clase o para programas.
And that is our classified School Employees Association report for the board for this evening.
Y ese es el informe que entregó a los trabajadores clasificados esta noche.
So, is that it on this topic? Because I have one comment, or if we want to talk about what we heard tonight. And, you know, the one thing that I know is what we're trying to do, as Angela has said, I think it was Angela, one of the teachers in the presentation, was we're trying to take a classroom operation and digitize it. And we're not even doing it with how maybe private industry, which has far greater resources than us. So things like the Chromebook issue is, you know, it's just there and we can't solve that problem. But what I would like to do is, Superintendent Ochoa, is either you or someone go through that video and let's look at the problems that we're having. We're not going to be able to wave that magic wand and solve them, but what can we start solving? To me, it's like the special ed program where, you know, we said, well, what are all the problems? And then we prioritized them. And then you had a team go after them. And I think we need to take the same approach to this. It is a heart-wrenching video on one hand, but on the other hand, it's very, very consistent with what I read in my national periodicals, and of course, what I hear from, you know, the 5 educators that are in my family.
Estoy de acuerdo con lo que se dijo en el video, que fue, creo que me parece que Ángela, uno de los maestros, y estamos tratando de cambiar lo que puede suceder en un salón a hacerlo digitalmente. El problema que tenemos con las tabletas, con los Chromebooks, es algo que no podemos resolver, pero tenemos que enfocarnos en los problemas y ver cómo podemos ayudarnos. Es como, por ejemplo, la educación especial, donde se hace una evaluación de qué es lo que se necesita y luego hacemos cuáles son las prioridades. Así tenemos que hacer, ver esos videos y ver qué es lo que podemos hacer. Tal vez no podamos resolver todo, pero poco a poco ir viendo qué es lo que se puede hacer.
And actually, President Bernowski duly noted. Are there any other comments or questions? Steve, I see your hand up.
Starting March 13th of earlier in the year, I said right from the beginning, this is going to be a learning process. This is not something that any of us have ever experienced before. And I believe that we have been learning on this process. Does that mean that we can stop learning now? No. I agree with President Bernowski in that we do have to keep working on this. This isn't something that we said, oh, we've done enough, let's go, we have nothing else to do. If there are things that we can still do, and it's doable, then let's get on it. Let's find out exactly what it is. If there's something we can do to help, and we can help, then let's get on that. To stop and say, oh, we can't do anything more, we've done everything we could do. I don't think any of us here believe that. And I agree, we need to keep working on problems as they come up.
Desde el principio, desde el 13 de marzo, yo estoy diciendo que íbamos a pasar por un proceso de aprendizaje. Ninguno de nosotros tenía la experiencia antes y hemos estado aprendiendo y tenemos que seguir aprendiendo. Tenemos que aprender nuevas destrezas y al mismo tiempo saber qué es lo que necesitamos saber. Tenemos que averiguar qué tipo de cosas podemos hacer y poco a poco tratar de hacer lo que se pueda. Y no vamos a decir, ya hicimos todo lo que se puede y ya aprendimos todo lo que aprendimos. No, vamos a seguir con un proceso de aprendizaje y un proceso de mejorar lo que se tenga que mejorar.
Anybody else? Liz?
I agree with both of you gentlemen. This is, I mean, we asked for candor, we asked for directness, and we got that. And so people are pretty much adjusting and on their feet and adapting as quickly as possible. Our principals, everybody. And the thing is, like you said, Rob, we have to take this video and, you know, Diego and whatever team he tasks to dissect what the teachers are saying and what they need should be done, because that's what we asked for. And what we can help with should be a priority, because they're the key people to ensure that our kids get what they deserve. And so we need to do what we can do. And we all just have to give each other a little bit of grace, through this. We all do. And so I hope they're willing to work with us. We're willing to work with them and provide them with the tools that they need, if at all possible.
Yo estoy de acuerdo con los dos caballeros, los que dijeron, con lo que dijeron antes, y nosotros pedimos que nos dieran información con franqueza, muy directos, y eso es lo que hicieron. Así que ahora tenemos que ver qué podemos hacer, qué cosas tenemos que adoptar nosotros mismos, tomar este video y Diego y su equipo puedan ver qué es lo que los maestros quieren, qué es lo que necesitan y qué es lo que nosotros podemos hacer para darles a los niños, a los estudiantes, lo que ellos se merecen. Tenemos que trabajar nosotros con ellos y esperamos que ellos trabajen con nosotros también.
Trustee Grist?
Yeah, I think that when Diego meets with the teachers and admin to work out these things, I think there are some things that I know are in place, getting the new Chromebooks and that type of stuff. Looks like that maybe some Chromebooks can't meet the needs of what teachers' needs, like on the speech and language therapists. And then there are some things that we can't deliver, but the things that we can deliver that are not too costly, I think we should look at and try to make their jobs easier. And I think that everybody, Trustee Martinez used the word grace. And I think that we need to give everybody a little bit of grace right now because everybody's under a lot of stress.
Thank you. Translate.
Yo creo que cuando el superintendente se reúna con los maestros y administradores, entonces podemos ver algunas de las cosas que necesitan y qué es lo que podemos hacer. Algunas cosas ya están en su lugar, como por ejemplo las tabletas que vamos a recibir o lo que no se puede hacer, pues no se puede hacer. Por ejemplo, la terapeuta del habla y lenguaje y algunas de las cosas que no podamos hacer, pues no lo vamos a hacer, pero lo que podamos hacer nosotros para hacer que ellos tengan un trabajo más fácil, estaremos nosotros dispuestos a hacerlo, siempre y cuando tengamos los fondos para hacerlo.
All right, Diego, item 13C, Rancho Santana School opening. And in case you don't know, you are frozen again.
You're still going to be able to hear me, and you all have your presentation. Your presentation is a summary of the steps that we have taken to prepare for the opening of Rancho Santana School. It begins with a construction process that we expect to end in January of 2021. So for those of you keeping track, in 3 months, we expect to get the keys from the builder. We have already held the first level of principal interviews for Rancho Santana School. Next Monday, myself and my senior cabinet will interview the 2 finalists, and we will bring a name forward to the board for your consideration and approval at the October 27th meeting of the Board of Trustees. From there, we will advertise and interview and name for your recommendation and for your approval at your November meeting, the office manager and the lead custodian. On or about December 1st, we will notify teachers in the district that we have vacancies at Rancho Santana School. We'll specify how many in each grade level, and we will hold interviews between the weeks of December 1st and December 15th. So that the board may approve those teacher assignments, those teacher hires in a sense, for Rancho Santana School in December. And the reason we want to do it that month is because if a teacher from Ladd Lane 3rd grade takes a position at Rancho Santana School, 3rd grade, it opens up a vacancy at Lad Lane in 3rd grade. And it creates a dominoes process where a teacher at Gavilan Hills might choose to transfer to Lad Lane, which opens up an opening at Gavilan Hills where a teacher from Calaveras. So I just want the board to know the reason to do this 8 months before the start of school is to avoid having any delay in hiring staff for the district, because it might create a position 3 months from now at one of our other schools, and I still want to hire, you know, the best and brightest that are out there, which is something that happens basically in February and March of the year. In addition to that,
Esta es la información sobre la escuela Rancho Santana. Y les voy a dar un resumen de los pasos que hemos tomado en la construcción. La construcción se espera que se termine para enero del año 2021, cuando las personas que están construyendo nos darán las llaves. Entonces vamos a entrevistar al director y espero que para la junta del 27 de octubre les presente yo 2 nombres de los que serán los finalistas. Después vamos a anunciar a los puestos y en la junta de noviembre les informaremos sobre el administrador gerente de la oficina y el conserje principal. En diciembre también vamos a hacerles saber a los maestros que vamos a ocupar el personal. Eso será del 1 de diciembre al 15 de diciembre, cuando vamos a estar ocupando a los maestros. Y la razón que hacemos esto en este mes es porque se va a crear un efecto donde si se ocupa una maestra que aplique en una escuela, a esa escuela, entonces se va a crear una vacancia en esa escuela. Y si ocupamos a alguien allí que está en otra escuela, entonces se van a crear vacancias en la otra escuela. Entonces, por eso es que hacemos esto 8 meses antes de que la escuela empiece, porque queremos ocupar al mejor personal posible. Y generalmente se ocupa el personal en enero o febrero, y queremos tener la oportunidad de ocupar a las personas más calificadas.
in terms of our timeline for enrollment, we will be sending letters to all of our Rancho Santana School neighborhood kids on October 1st, and we will allow families who reside in those boundaries to be notified of their option to enroll, and it will be very simple for families to send back a letter to us or drop it off here at the district office to say, we want our kids to go to Rancho Santana School. And from there, we'll begin building the enrollment charts for our school. In and around November to December, we will invite families who do not live in that boundary to indicate their interest to enroll. We will inform them that it's based on space availability, because we might have more students than the number of seats we have at the school. Or in the event that we don't have enough, we will have the classes equal to the number of kids who are interested. And then we expect to hold an enrollment lottery, if needed, on December 15th for the upcoming 21-22 school year.
Ahora, sobre cuándo se hace cada cosa, la inscripción del 1 de octubre al 15 de noviembre de este año, a todas las familias que viven allí en las áreas cerca del Rancho Santana, se les notificará de la opción que tienen de inscribir a sus hijos en estas escuelas. De noviembre 1 a diciembre 1, todas las familias que están interesadas serán invitadas a que pidan una transferencia para que los estudiantes puedan asistir a esa escuela. Y después, si tenemos más espacio que lo que de las personas que se inscribieron, vamos a hacer como una lotería para los estudiantes que quieran cambiar. Ahora, sin embargo, si tenemos menos de los que necesitan, entonces se tendrá que hacer lo necesario según la habilidad que haya para las clases.
All right, in terms of school operations.
Hold on, Diego. Jan?
Yeah, the lottery will be done at the district office?
That's correct.
Okay.
Pregunta si la lotería se va a hacer en la oficina del distrito y sí, es correcto.
In terms of school operations, the school will serve up to grades TK through 8 based on parent and student interest. There is a little bit of a thing where middle schoolers don't really like to move very much, so we are, watching that very carefully. Kids who are at Mays and at Rancho, at Calaveras or at HDLA, it's very difficult to pull a 13-year-old from their friends and say, hey, you're going to move to this new school. So we just might not have a ton of interest in 7th and 8th grade, but we'll watch that and we'll see what kind of interest there is. But it is possible that we would start with only TK through 6 if, in fact, we just didn't have the interest. And then, of course, the idea behind taking this opportunity with this school is to encourage the principal and the teachers and the parents at the school to identify an area of focus for themselves, to take this opportunity that they have to say, at Rancho Santana School, we are really excited about the idea of having a technology focus, having a college prep focus, having an arts focus, and to specifically say we want to build a strong program in this one area over time. So that's something I wanted to explain to you.
Tocan que a la operación de la escuela y los grados a los que vamos a aceptar, basado en el interés de los padres de escuela, está abierta para los grados de kinder hasta el 8º grado, y esperamos que se van a inscribir más bien los de kinder a 6º grado, pero vamos a estar fijándonos si los estudiantes o los padres tienen interés para los grados 7 y 8. Generalmente es difícil para los estudiantes de grados 7 y 8 que quieran cambiar de escuela porque van a dejar a sus amigos. Así que un estudiante que tenga 13 años generalmente no quiere cambiar de escuela, pero ya veremos. También nos vamos a enfocar, el director de esta nueva escuela va a trabajar con su personal de enero a junio para desarrollar un enfoque académico en la escuela. Tienen diferentes opciones, incluyendo el enfoque de arte, tecnología o preparación para la universidad. O sea, ¿cuáles son las cosas principales que más les interesa o en qué quieren que se enfoque la escuela?
Rancho Santana School will have an 8:55 a.m. start time. It will have a later start time to accommodate transportation. It will have a later start time also due to the research we know is out there regarding the importance of a later start time for older students, and the school will serve students that go through 8th grade. And then the traditions for the school are going to be created. Every other school has their own traditions and they just build over time, and this is a school that is going to start to create traditions, and I think that's a really fun aspect of creating a new school.
La escuela Rancho Santana va a empezar a las 8:55 de la mañana. Esto le dará a los niños, especialmente a esos que están en la escuela intermedio, que prefieren empezar más tarde, les da el tiempo. También ayuda con la transportación para los niños que tienen necesidades especiales. También la escuela Rancho Santana va a trabajar con sus estudiantes, su personal de administrador, para identificar tradiciones únicas para ellos basadas en los miembros de la comunidad. Muchas de las escuelas tienen sus tradiciones, ellos pueden empezar a trabajar en eso.
Diego, what's the earliest parents would be able to drop their child off if school begins at 8:55?
Right. I'll recommend that we have a before school program, Mr. Bronowski. So those, we would obviously partner with YMCA or Hollister Youth Alliance or one of our Go Kids, one of our other local agencies to be able to have a before school program. And a typical start time for that, for a school that has a 8:55 start time, might be like 7:15. To be able to accommodate families that need an earlier drop-off.
And what time would school get out?
You know, that's gonna be different based on the different grade levels because middle schoolers just have more instructional minutes. So a TK, it will be very similar to the bell schedule that you see at Lab Lane, which is an 8:45 start time and right around 3:15-ish or so. You know, I don't wanna speculate, but it's right around that time.
La pregunta fue, ¿qué es lo más temprano que los padres podrán dejar a sus hijos allí si la escuela empieza a las 8:55? Dice, bueno, espero tener un programa antes de escuela donde nos reunamos con algunas de las agencias locales como el YMCA o Go Kids o alguna agencia local que pueda ofrecer esto y entonces podrían los padres que necesitan dejar a sus niños más temprano hacerlo a las 7:15. Después preguntó hasta qué horas se terminan las clases en la escuela. Dice, eso va a variar dependiendo en el año escolar que tengan los niños. Y claro que los de escuela intermedia, si los grados 7 y 8 será más tarde, probablemente alrededor de las 3:15, puesto que ellos tienen más tiempo instruccional.
In terms of school staffing, we expect to open with our lead custodian, our office manager, library media specialist, health clerk, the typical positions that we have at every school. In addition to that, based on staff size, it will impact how many instructional assistants and how many paraprofessionals we have. But in addition to that, we fully expect to have a moderate to severe special education program at Rancho Santana School starting the first year, as well as an RSP program at Rancho Santana School. So we're going into it planning for both of those eventualities.
Tocante al personal, queremos empezar con el gerente de oficina y el conserje, y luego después de ahí se va ocupando las personas. Espero yo ver que tengamos unos servicios moderados o severos para educación especial y algunos de los otros programas especiales como el RSS.
One thing to note is, for several years, we've been talking about the need to undo a decision that was made 4 years ago, where children with special needs are required to attend 3 separate elementary schools. And we believe that next year will be the first time that we're able to assure parents that their kindergarten teacher, their kindergarten student would basically go from one class to another class at the same school. And so children who attend R.O. Hardin and live in the R.O. Hardin neighborhood and have siblings at R.O. Hardin would likely, every child has their own plan, but would have the opportunity to remain there. And for the last several years, we've had kids going from R.O. Hardin to Cerro Vista to Sunny Slope and to Lab, and then just moving them all over the district. And it's been a very big unfairness that we feel Rancho Santana School is going to be part of the solution to be able to straighten that out. And then school culture, big question, who are we? Are we the Foxes? Are we the Salamanders? Are we the Owls? Are we the Trojans? Or are we some other name? Nobody knows who we are. We have to decide that ourselves. The board has asked for the students and parents and staff to all participate in reciting those things. And I lay out a schedule for how something like that would happen. We'll obviously work with our school principal to lead the process in deciding all of that. And then the last page in your presentation is just a little group of pictures of different college football uniforms with different color schemes. So University of Washington, LSU, Auburn, Tennessee, Arizona State, USC, of course, that's my favorite. And
No USC.
Very strong professional recommendation. But
49ers.
49ers, there you go.
Blue Hens.
Giants.
No, listen.
All right. Diego,
Ahora vamos a hablar sobre la cultura y quiénes somos. Eso es como el mascota que escoge el de la escuela. Eso es algo que los maestros, los estudiantes, los padres van a decidir, se les va a dar ciertas ideas, pero va a ser algo que ellos van a discutir y mencionar, se les va a dar el proceso que tienen que seguir para hacer esto. Y luego también la escuela tendrá sus oficiales y decidirá. Anteriormente se habló también de la escuela de los estudiantes que participan en educación especial, como estamos tratando de disolver lo que se hizo hace 3 años, donde los estudiantes tenían que ir de educación especial, tenían que ir hasta 3 escuelas diferentes. Ahora creo que esta escuela va a solucionar ese problema, donde el estudiante no tiene que ir de una escuela a otra escuela a otra escuela, sino que podrá permanecer en una sola escuela. Y luego se enseñaron unos retratos con diferentes uniformes de diferentes universidades o diferentes equipos.
Any other comments from board members on item 13C, or are we ready to move on to 14A?
We're ready to move.
I'm good.
So we're, is Caroline gonna join us for this, Diego?
Only if she's listening to the meeting at this point in time, and I'm not gonna do one more call because I don't wanna disconnect anything.
Okay, so.
I don't wanna have bad juju, but I can walk the board through both items because I'm very, very familiar with them. So item 14A is a public hearing. The public hearing is, the public hearing is a resolution, number 7, certifying that during the 2021 school year, each pupil in the Hallsville School District has sufficient textbooks or materials for core academic courses, math, science, history, English language arts, and ELD.
Estamos hablando del tema 14A, que es una audiencia pública para ver si hay suficiente material para instrucción. La resolución 7 para el año escolar 2021 certifica que durante el año escolar 2021 cada estudiante en el distrito escolar de Hallsville tiene suficientes libros o materiales para los clases académicos principales, como para matemáticas, ciencias, historia, sociales, inglés, artes y lenguajes, incluyendo el desarrollo de inglés, comparándolo con otros programas y consistentes con lo que el Estado dice.
So I'll open up the hearing. The hearing's for public comment. Board members can comment during the public hearing, or you can wait until we actually vote on the resolution itself. So I'll gavel in the hearing, the public hearing at 9:25 p.m. Hearing's now open. Is there any public comment?
Audiencia pública para escuchar del público si quieren hacer comentarios. Los miembros de la mesa directiva también pueden hacer comentarios si gustan ahorita o después cuando se trate ese tema más adelante. Así que la audiencia pública empieza a las 9:25.
Any public comment coming in, Diego?
There's none.
All right.
No hay ningún comentario público, nadie está llamando.
All right, I'll close the public hearing at 9:26 p.m.
Así que se cierra la audiencia pública a las 9:26.
And I will now open up a hearing on the the 2020-2021 Learning Continuity and Attendance Plan Adoption. And board members, again, you can either comment during the public hearing or you can wait until we act on the resolution. So I'll open up the hearing at 9:26.
Así que a las 9:26 se abre la audiencia pública para el año escolar 2021, donde se va a tratar continuidad de aprendizaje y plan de asistencia. Otra vez los miembros de la mesa directiva pueden hacer sus comentarios ahorita en parte del público o esperarse hasta que la resolución sea adoptada.
Diego, is there any public comment coming in?
There is none.
Okay. I do have questions on this, but I'll wait. So, there being no other public comment, board members, any public comment?
Well, I don't have any backup on this, so I just have this one page.
That's all there is.
So if you go to, well, when we go to act on the resolution, it's in the very last section. My book is not tabbed, but it's towards the back. It's the, like, 20-page document.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So we saw the template for this, I think, 2 or 3 board members, meetings ago.
Okay.
So,
No hay ningún comentario público y la información sobre esta resolución está en hojas y ya se ha presentado también antes.
hearing no public comment, I will close the public hearing at 9:28 p.m.
Así que se cierra la audiencia pública a las 9:28.
All right, item 15A. It's recommended that the board approve provisional intern permits for the 2021 school year as presented. Superintendent Ochoa.
All right, so on an annual basis, the Board of Trustees approves provisional intern permits, or what we refer to as PIPs, for teachers in response to the phasing out of emergency permits, which became effective on July 1st, 2006.
Cada año el distrito escolar tiene que aprobar permisos de internos provisionales. Esto empezó desde el año 2006.
The district currently has an approved declaration of need document filed with the Commission on Teacher Credentialing that the board approved on May 26, 2020.
Y el distrito escolar tiene una declaración de las necesidades que se registró en mayo del año 2020.
The applications included in this document on each teacher's behalf requesting the PIP, therefore allow the teacher to be hired to fill the vacancies.
La aplicación es para este permiso de interno provisional, es para que puedan llenar la vacancia que existe.
And at this time, the school district is requesting a provisional intern permit from the Teacher Credentialing Commission on behalf of 3 teachers.
Y en este momento el distrito está pidiendo que se aprueben estos permisos provisionales de internos para 3 maestros.
And we do, Erica, is that you? All right, so we do have Erica Sanchez on the phone. Thank you, Erica, for calling in. You're just gonna need to speak. Well, I don't know, are you home? I don't want you to wake up the family, but try to speak loudly into the phone receiver, okay?
Sure.
All right. Any questions for Erica on the 3 provisional intern permits?
Erika se encuentra por teléfono, Erika Sánchez. ¿Hay alguna pregunta para Erika tocante de estos 3 permisos provisionales?
So are these interns, they're working full-time and getting their credential at the same time?
Yes.
Y la pregunta es si estos son personas que van a estar trabajando a tiempo completo, pero al mismo tiempo están tratando de obtener su credencial, y la respuesta es sí.
And they're not with a master teacher, are they? They're just on their own, huh?
Correct.
Wow.
Y no están trabajando con otro maestro, están trabajando por su propio cuenta.
I'll entertain a motion that we approve these intern permits for the current school year.
I'll make a motion that we approve provisional intern permits for 2020 to 2021 school year.
Second?
And I assume you mean those that are presented. So is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
Se hizo la moción para aprobar el permiso de interno provisional, se secundó y fue aprobada 4-0.
All right, on to 15B, approval of resolution.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 15B, resolution number 7, 2021. Well, let's do this. Let me entertain a motion to approve it. And if whoever's doing that, if you could say the number.
I move to approve resolution number 7/20-21 in the matter of sufficiency of instructional materials.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion.
This seems silly to me. Why would we be saying no to this?
It's a law.
I know it's a law, but I mean, really? Okay, that's my only discussion.
Well, look, guys, being a school board member is serious, and if the public had a concern,
Yeah, that's fine.
you know, remember we do this, then we do the Williams Act, which summarizes complaints about sort of the same thing.
Right,
So,
right. Okay.
okay. So, any further discussion?
No.
Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of passing the resolution, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
Se hizo la moción, fue secundada y fue aprobada. Aprobar la resolución número 7 para 2021 en el asunto de suficiencia material para instrucción.
All right, on to item 15C, the approval of the 2021 Learning Continuity and Attendance Plan. Diego, you are on.
Tonight's presentation to the board is a summary of the actions and services, the steps taken, the areas of focus, and of the allocation of funds. I'll direct the board to the page indicating stakeholder engagement, in which we as a school district began early and often with surveys to parents and staff, surveys to administration, regular presentations to members of the community via video, YouTube channel, as well as parent town halls, in which we took questions live and engaged with the public on a variety of different topics pertaining to distance learning. In addition, regarding the public hearing and regarding the process itself, the district has been overly communicative regarding the plans to have initially hybrid education, and then ultimately once the county fell into the purple tier for the state of California, opening only with 100% distance learning. A summary of the feedback provided is there was universal support for daily online instruction. There was strong support for a climate of accountability, making sure that kids were logging in and doing work and being accountable. There was universal support for social emotional learning and social emotional supports. There was universal support for parent trainings and parent workshops and parent education, and those are included in our plans for the year. And then lastly, there was universal support for health and safety protocols and procedures if and when we open for work and for school. So I'll take any questions you have on the process.
Que este es sobre acción y es un resumen sobre los áreas de enfoque, tomando en cuenta los fondos que se han proveído. Se hizo una encuesta con los padres, el personal, la administración, se hicieron presentaciones, hubo reuniones con los padres donde se habló del aprendizaje a distancia, hubo audiencias públicas. Y el distrito tuvo comunicación con todos, hablaron sobre el programa híbrido y hasta que el estado de California ordenó que se hiciera el aprendizaje solo a distancia. Hubo mucho apoyo tocante tener contabilidad de la asistencia de los estudiantes, también de ayudarlos socialmente y emocionalmente, tener educación para los padres y tomando en cuenta la salud y la seguridad, ya que las clases empiezan en la escuela.
Jan, you had a question?
Yeah, well, it's more of a comment. I love this document because it just shows everything that we do. My constructive criticism is that on the town halls, we didn't put the dates. And I wish dates would have been attached to the town hall meetings because instead of just town hall #1 or #2, I wish the dates would have been included. To really, when somebody wants to look at how our district changed, how did our district change? This shows it. This shows how our superintendent changed our district. And I think the dates need to be included because this is exactly how it changed.
We can definitely do that.
Me encanta este documento porque demuestra todo lo que el distrito está haciendo. Lo único que yo mencionaría, y esta es una crítica constructiva, es cuando se tuvieron las reuniones que se hubiera hecho, puesto las fechas en cada una en vez de nomás la primera, la segunda o la tercera, tener fechas para que así podamos ver los cambios por los que ha pasado el distrito escolar. Pero es algo que se puede hacer.
Diego, my only question is, does this take away from the LCAP or supplement the LCAP, or how does this dovetail with it? Or
I think, thank you for asking that. I think we're probably going to be one of very, very few districts that has if you actually look at the acronym that is LCAP also, the Learning Continuity and Local Control Accountability Plan. I think there was some educators committee, it was probably like $2 million worth of administrators in the room coming up with that devious plan to have it be the exact same acronym. But here's what we did. In June, if you recall, the board looked at our goals for our LCAP and we said, we don't know what the state's going to do and we're going to adopt a 4-year LCAP. Because we wanted to make a statement to our parents and our staff to say, we're not backing away from Footsteps, we're not backing away from Eureka, we're not backing away from Benchmark, we're not backing away from small group instruction. So ours dovetails very well, but most school districts, the learning continuity and attendance plan is very, very different from what they would have adopted as an LCAP.
Y la pregunta fue si acaso tocante al programa de LCAP, dice se le va a quitar o va a suplementarlo o qué, y entonces demuestra donde en las páginas donde explica todo eso, tiene la contabilidad del aprendizaje, dice fue una de las metas cuando nos reunimos en junio para adoptar esto, dice muchas escuelas lo hicieron de diferente manera, pero nosotros no queríamos buscar eso, así que no sabíamos lo que el Estado iba a hacer, así que adoptamos un plan de 4 años.
So with that, I'll just open up to any questions that the board has, answer any questions on the document or on the learning continuity and attendance plan.
I just really alguna pregunta, está disponible para contestar.
And it's an easy to understand document. I mean, I would think that if someone was not even familiar with these educational documents, it was easy to read. And I think it really demonstrates a lot of the changes that we have asked for and we've seen the product. So I was very pleased. I was very happy with it.
Y ese es un documento que fue muy difícil, perdón, un documento que fue muy fácil de entender y muy fácil de leer, y demuestro los cambios a los que nosotros estamos pidiendo, así que estoy muy satisfecha con eso.
Trustee Martinez, do you have any questions for Superintendent Diego?
It's very clear, I mean, what we're allocating and what we're targeting, as far as funding as well for each specific program, that we purchased, and I just don't see, you know, what, so we're doing this for this purpose, and so what, with what result are we, you know, so I'm not sure if that column is gonna be added later, but, you know, what was our outcome in focusing to that degree and, you know, the funding, so what, you know, our expectation and what the true outcome was on it, so.
Liz, I think you're confusing that with item 17, request for future agenda items.
Para mí está muy claro y explica también los fondos que hay para cada programa, pero lo único que pienso es que faltó la columna donde dice los resultados o qué es lo que esperamos. El otro miembro de la mesa directiva dice, oh, ese es un tema que se puede discutir en la siguiente reunión.
And the one thing I'll add, Trustee Martinez, is that what they're asking us to do here is to be accountable for how we're going to keep kids learning and how we're going to keep kids engaged. But I think the board knows, you heard some of my comments earlier tonight about the level of data that we are bringing together district-wide. So your group and the public is going to receive updates from administration in January and again in April, explaining specifically what you just described. So you put these in place. What was the result? What was the outcome? And did you achieve your goal? And I think, to put it simply, we want kids at grade level in English and math. That's what we want. We want them reading and writing and doing math at grade level. And then from there, we'll get a lot more specific on what that means.
Dice, sí, vamos a tener una contabilidad, porque lo que queremos es que los estudiantes sigan aprendiendo y sigan participando. Después se va a tomar toda esa información basada en todo el distrito y les daremos información poniéndolos al corriente sobre la información será en enero y después en abril. Se preguntan, ok, esto fue lo que hicieron, las metas que tenían, pero ¿se cumplieron esas metas? Así que lo que queremos es que nuestros estudiantes estén al nivel que les corresponde, basado en el año en el que están, en lectura, en escritura, en matemáticas, y esos informes se los estaremos proveyendo periódicamente.
Okay, I forget, did we take a motion on this one yet?
Yeah.
We did. So, is there any further discussion?
I just have one more thing to say.
Okay.
When I look at this, I hate to bring things back to coaching, but to me, this is a game plan that we came up with. Yeah. And as a coach, if you want to look at it as a coach or Diego as a coach, we are following the game plan. There's nothing more you can ask. I'm very proud of this. And I can only say let's keep it going. Let's keep the game plan going.
And you know, as Rob was, you know, so keenly asking yesterday, are you noticing learning loss? And it's clear even on this document that's being addressed on page 364. So there's a game plan for that. So it's just, you know, maintaining and being consistent with what our plans are. And again, you know, I always see that, you know, we're always pivoting and changing, and as Steve said, with coaching, you gotta change, you gotta move and adapt, especially in this climate. So I think he's prepared to do so if that arises as well.
Bueno, para mí parece un plan, y es un plan que es fácil de seguir. Yo en realidad estoy muy orgullosa de ese plan porque vamos a seguir adelante con esto. Y la otra miembro de la mesa de dijo, sí, también habíamos preguntado sobre la pérdida de aprendizaje y también se habla sobre esto en la página 364. Hay este plan y vamos a continuar. También hay cambios, vamos a seguir pensando en los cambios y cómo vamos a proceder especialmente en este clima en el que estamos actualmente.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of approving the 2021 Learning Continuity and Attendance Plan, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none? Sorry. 4-0, I'm getting tired.
Everybody
It's
is.
2 o'clock in the morning if we were still here last night, so. All right, 4-0.
Así que se hizo la moción, fue secundada de aprobar la continuidad al aprendizaje y plan de asistencia para el año 2021. Se hizo la moción, se secundó y fue aprobada 4-0.
All right, item 16, board member reports. Jan?
I don't have anything to report.
Okay, interpreter?
Los reportes de los miembros de la Junta Directiva y Chen, la primera, dijo que no tenía nada que reportar.
Trustee Martinez?
Nothing to report, Rob.
Y miembro de la mesa Martínez tampoco tiene nada que reportar.
Trustee King?
Nothing to report.
Okay. The only thing I have to report is tomorrow I'm meeting with Lisa Wiggins and Diego just to get some personal comfort on our cash flow report that we had as part of our budget 2 board meetings ago. And Diego, I don't know if you're listening, but I would prefer to do that by Zoom from my home. I guess he's not listening. So that's my report.
He is.
Okay. And, you know, again, perhaps Friday I can tour Rancho Santana if that's convenient. Okay? Request for future agenda items.
Just a moment, please. Tocante a lo que tiene que reportar el presidente de la mesa directiva, es nada más hacerles saber que mañana se va a reunir para hablar sobre el presupuesto que se presentó hace algunas juntas, como 2 o 3 juntas anteriormente. Esta junta se prefiere hacerla a través de Zoom. Y ahora estamos en agendas, asuntos para la agenda próxima.
Future agenda items, Steve Kane.
Yeah, I'd like to move, and go back to what we were talking earlier, speaking about earlier in the evening. This idea of meeting with teachers and classified as well, really. And at the meeting, the very things we discussed earlier, is there something more we can be doing as a board for the teachers and the classified to make their jobs easier? And at that future agenda item, maybe a report made from the superintendent as to your meetings. I would hate to wait until October, whenever the next board meeting, I think it's the 15th, right?
No, 27th.
But aren't we going to meet with, about deciding, wasn't there an October 15th date to, about how the distance, whether to go to hybrid or not?
Right, yes.
Am I wrong? Isn't it October 15th?
It's October 13th.
13th, okay, I knew it was something like that. So I would hate to wait that long, but I would like you directing Superintendent Ochoa to meet with representatives of both HESTA and CSEA and discuss and report back to us if there's something we could do or what you would recommend, that sort of thing. Is that possible?
As a future agenda item, what we would do is we would bring back an update to the board on distance learning. And as the superintendent, I will reach out to both of the leadership in CSEA and HESTA and coordinate some meetings.
Okay,
Very good.
excellent.
Así que lo que pidió para el asunto de la agenda en el futuro es, había hablado anteriormente de una reunión con los maestros, también con el personal clasificado, para ver qué es lo que puede hacer la junta directiva para ayudarle a los maestros y al personal clasificado. También le pide al superintendente que se reúna con ellos de esos dos grupos y va a traer un informe actualizado sobre aprendizaje a distancia.
Trustee Martinez, any future agenda item?
No, not at this time.
Thank you.
I do.
I'm waiting for the interpreter, but okay, go for it, Jan.
All right, the first, and I think it was Trustee Martinez brought this up, the boundaries for schools.
Oh, yes.
I wrote it down.
She forgot it's late.
Okay, next.
But I don't know, Diego, you would know better if it would be better to do that in November. I don't know what your thoughts are about this, but yeah, you know, when you want to do this report.
Okay, what else?
Okay, in regards to our report from HESTA, I would like to see that our administration meet with HESTA and you know, see about the things that, what some of the small things that they were asking for, and see what they can do.
Steve addressed that.
To address that. So we'll get a report back. Did we ask for that already, or?
Yes.
Yeah, I asked for it.
Okay. And then, remember it was brought up, an upper grades for Footsteps to Brilliance. And, Crystal Lamata told me that that company was working on something. But I've done after-school intervention for kids. And Steve, you know this gal, Anita Archer, remember her?
Yeah.
And she does this program, it's a reading, it's called Rewards Reading Intervention. This is just an example, and it's online now. But maybe the district would like to look at something for our upper grades that's not too costly, that would be an app that would complement Footsteps to Brilliance, but for our grades 4 to 8.
Okay.
So something like that, as long, you know, it might be too prohibitive, I don't know. But that might be something, if the teachers are finding that they would like something like that, then maybe we should be looking for them.
Diego, you got that?
I don't know if he's there. Is he there?
I wrote it down.
I'm here and I can hear you.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Are you?
And I think our interpreter wants to interpret.
Okay.
Al miembro de la mesa directiva Martínez dijo que no tenía nada que quería para agenda en el futuro. Jen mencionó algo que Martínez había mencionado antes, que son las fronteras que van a tener para la escuela, y quiere tener esto, y también que la administración se reúna con el sindicato de los maestros para hablar también otra vez qué es lo que pueden hacer, y luego de programas que han tenido antes, que uno que se llama Footsteps to Brilliance, a ver si hay algún programa o aplicación para los estudiantes de grados más altos, algo que los maestros les guste.
In regards to this Anita Archer program, Diego, are you familiar with her, Anita Archer?
I am.
Yeah, she's done a PD day here in Hollister.
And
yeah.
I'll reach out to you, Jan, so we can follow up on that.
Okay, but I just, one other thing is when I was looking up for programs, SRA now goes even through college. Little SRA kits, but that's obviously not for online.
All right, anything else, Jen?
No, I'm good.
Okay, that being said, the next regular meeting is October 27th, and as Diego pointed out, I guess we have a special on October 13th.
Right.
So, that being said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting at 9:57. Oh,
I have one.
oh, sorry.
School golf tournament, October 9th, at San Juan Oaks at 4:00. 4:00.
All right. Any other board announcements? All right. That being said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting at 9:57 PM.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
Así que la miembro de la mesa directiva, Jerry,